Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we talk about all the latest in pop culture, news, TV and movie reviews, gaming news, and just the general conversations of the day. For those who don't know me, I'm Price of Reason, and as always, I have with me my co host, Professor R2. How's it going, Professor?
Oh, it's going all right. Going better for me than for Stephen Colbert.
Man, you know what? That is so overdue. It is so overdue canceling his show.
Long overdue.
Long
Long
overdue.
overdue.
They
Yeah.
needed to cancel that show so long ago.
Yeah.
We've talked about that show on many occasions on this stream, and one of the things that I always tell you that annoys me about Stephen Colbert is that late night used to be a time where you actually had people that were sort of trying to entertain everybody. You think of people like Johnny Carson, and the late night, which was then with David Letterman.
Hmm.
David Letterman at the time, he had that whole situation that he wanted to be the successor to Johnny Carson. So because they gave it to Jay Leno, he went to CBS and became Jay Leno's competitor, and they were
Hmm.
both doing late night. Whereas David Letterman for many years built a sort of brand. And that whole evening really was on his back and his brand of humor, which I think was more inclusive. I'm sure that all those people were more kind of left leaning or whatever they were, but they didn't do it in an obnoxious and unreasonable way. I think that there was enough humor there that everybody on different sides of the aisle can enjoy, and it was really important to have that kind of event every day. And then Stephen Colbert took over David Letterman's show. And I don't know if you remember initially, he didn't want to do his character like on the Colbert show, which I
Yeah.
had
He
no
wasn't doing the Colbert Report thing anymore. He was because that there he was playing a conservative, faux conservative character. And yeah, he wanted this show now to be him. It was going to be his because I mean technically I think there were some issues with like the ownership of that character and stuff like that with Comedy Central. But no, he when he came over, yeah, he was doing himself, and yeah, it didn't work out too well.
No, he was doing badly in the ratings. That's what no, seriously. He
No,
was
he's
in fact doing badly in the ratings. And then what happened is that one day he started going on a rant about Trump and he saw that, this actually got him some ratings and some, headlines and things like that. And from that minute on, he would not stop talking about Trump all day and all night. Now, it's fine if you're sort of a late night host and you want to make jokes. If you want to make jokes about the president, it's fine. It's fine also if you're in your monologue, even if you give a really aggressive joke and just move on and do the show like, and it's fun or whatever. But that's not what happened. It became that every monologue of his, less and less like anything joke related, just him kind of whining and moaning and complaining all day and speaking like really, in a way that's very disrespectful. And then all the guests he was sitting there, now they're commiserating and talking about Trump all the time all day and all night. All of his sketches are Trump. It became like the ultimate Trump derangement syndrome show. Now, I want to again say, I always tell you this. It's not that I sit around with like posters of Trump at home. And like I've always told you that I don't even want to spend my time all day and all night thinking about politicians. Maybe we have to think about politics these days more than what we used to. But certainly at night, when there's some guy telling jokes, I don't need him for like an hour and a half to keep complaining about the president. Whether it was Biden or Trump or whatever it was, I still don't need him to sit there and complain for 90 minutes. Your whole job is to do some fluffy thing with guests, interview people, talk about some pop culture stuff. Yes, tell a few jokes, make a few political jokes, it's fine. But when your whole show just becomes you being like, some obsessive weirdo, it just it became intolerable. I couldn't even watch a minute of his show.
it's dreadful. Yeah, and so yeah, it really he kind of started off, and when he first started, his ratings were not very good. And then you'll remember he hosted, like, I think it was it on Showtime when he hosted the election in 2016?
It's possible. I
Like
don't even remember
he had
now.
a Showtime, like a special that he did where he was hosting the election. It was like a special thing between his show and another, cable channel or something. And then it was of course the 2016 election when nothing went the way that they hoped and Trump ended up getting elected and everyone was in shock because they were, I mean, they were ready to put their immaculate goddess, Hillary, on her pillar where she belonged, and she lost. And so everyone in the audience that night was shocked, and he was trying to like, oh well, this things could have gone better, kind of, and it was just went awful. And then he started, that's almost immediately ramping up the vitriol, towards Trump and his stuff, and his ratings started to improve a little bit. And so that was his winning formula, right? But
Right.
now people are sick of it. They don't want that anymore. That's not what's going to get you an audience. And the truth is, where the audience that they're shooting for is a whole bunch of 18-year-olds, and none of them are watching anything on any major network at any hour. They're
He,
they're only
he's the
they're
he's
watching clips and memeing them on their phones. That's it.
Stephen Colbert for me is like the ultimate sellout. After doing the Colbert Report, which was actually funny, and I'll tell you why. Because when he did that, on one hand, he was the like fa conservative, but like he was sitting as a conservative making fun of people on the left, and at the same time, it would be a double. It would have a double angle. On one hand, the jokes that he would make about people on the left were legitimate jokes, but at the same time, he's also taking to the extreme the conservative angle. And I won't lie to you, during those years when he did that, I actually saw that show and I would usually laugh. Like I actually he genuinely in some cases made me laugh. And sometimes he'd have guests on his show that are more conservative. He was more of a good sport about it. And I think that there was this feeling that everybody could sit down, no matter who you are or what your opinions are, and you could still enjoy it. I also have told you, I never really associate myself with one party or another party or this group or another group. So for me, it was perfect. I could see the jokes all across the board. Sometimes there'd be an issue. Maybe I think one way about, maybe I think another way about it. And I felt like shows like his, even early Jon Stewart, early Daily Show back in the day, I also thought was less alienating. It's just over time they became more and more alienating, and the more it became like Trump, they just lost it.
Yeah, it was just, there was one punchline to every joke.
Right.
There was only one perspective that was ever, voiced on the show. There was only uh, they would only have guests with certain points of view. It was there. It was never, it's like, oh my God. Here, I shared, here, I'm going to share a different tab with you here, and you can put it up, presentation, here, uh, over on X. Oh, can you hear me, Price?
Yep.
Oh, can you, yeah, share my screen.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't hear you for a second. Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
that's right. Yeah, my internet's is acting funny right now, so hopefully it gets stabilized in a minute. Um, so this was Adam Schiff who appeared on this episode tonight,
that's like he's like
or
the
earlier
grim
today. He's
shift.
had
You know what
just
I mean? The
finished.
grim.
Paramount and CBS ended the Late Show for political reasons. The public deserves to know and deserves better. Oh, please see this. This is the thing. He would have people like Adam Schiff on. He would not have a Ted Cruz, right? That
Right.
would never happen. It was always one-sided. It was brutally one-sided. He even had that. Remember, he had that one reporter from CNN who he was like, "Oh, we all know that your coverage is very centrist and it's not biased." And the audience, his leftist audience, laughed at the
Right.
idea
Right. I
that
remember that.
CNN was a centrist and even-handed media, company. So that, it's hilarious. But yeah, this was Razor Fist. So it just happened to see this tweet a little while ago. He said, talking to Adam, just saying, dude, Colbert is barely drawing 2.0 ratings. His share of the 18 to 49 demographic is 200,000 people.
Yeah. I mean,
That's pathetic, right? He's like mid-tier YouTubers can triple that. That is nothing, right?
Right.
And the reality is, yeah, they say, oh, was it canceled for political reasons? What was it, right? No, no, it was not political reasons. This was well, let's see. Do we have the? Does this have the quote from? Let's see. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert will end its historic run in May 2026 at the end of the broadcast season. We consider Stephen Colbert irreplaceable and will retire the Late
Ha.
Show franchise at that time. We are proud that Stephen called CBS home. He and the broadcast will be remembered in the pantheon of greats and graced late night television. And then they mentioned something saying this was a purely financial decision against a challenging backdrop in late night. And it's not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount. So, in other words, what they're saying is, yes, actually, it is entirely related to the show's performance and its content and what's happening at Paramount. Let's remember what's going on at Paramount right now. They
Right.
are being bought out. They are being bought out by Skydance. This deal is likely to close pretty soon now that they've managed to put a lot of stuff behind them,
Including
uh,
the Trump lawsuit.
including the Trump lawsuit, right? And so I am 100% certain that they looked at this and they've got, Skydance coming in, and then there's what is David Ellison, Larry Ellison's son is a big part of this,
Yep.
and they're coming in. These are business decisions. They're looking at it and saying, does this make money? And they are looking at his show and said, no, it doesn't make money. Why doesn't it make money? Well, because the show performs poorly. The content does not appeal to the audience that they're trying to draw. And with this merger at Paramount, they need to cut the fat. And so they are canceling this show. And it could not have happened to a better a better nighttime host than Stephen Colbert. Although I will say this, I am still looking forward to the day, hopefully in the not too distant future, when I get to see Jimmy Kimmel crying on his show about his show being canceled.
Well, let me tell you something. Now that you were talking and saying all this, you know what suddenly occurred to me? That basically you had David Letterman and then you had Craig Ferguson. David Letterman was the Late Show and Craig Ferguson was the Late Late Show, and they were there for years. And then you brought Stephen Colbert and James Corden. And basically, once those contracts ended, the James Corden and the Stephen Colbert, whatever it is, once they were able to, they pulled the plug on it, and their performance was so bad that they never even want to do this show again. Both of them. They both canceled. There's no more James Corden. This slot is gone. And same with Stephen Colbert.
Yeah,
Now,
they did bring in. They brought in a comedian, a female comedian that came in for a little while, and her show was called Round Midnight or After Midnight, something like that.
yeah,
And
there was something like that.
and
Yeah.
then now that's canceled. Like she said she's leaving to focus on her stand-up career. That is the funniest thing I have ever heard in my life. I have a late night show on a major network, but I'm going to spend more time with my
Well, what else do
touring
you want them to say?
stand-up career.
I mean, seriously, what else? What else do you want them to say? So I guess that was the best they could do.
Oh, but yeah, I was like, but that's like a step backward. You know what I mean? Like that's you do the touring and the stand-up so that you can get the show and
Right.
you don't have to tour anymore. But yeah, oh gosh. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like you said, money talks. It could be that regardless of anything, YouTube has really replaced a lot of what used to be this kind of late night stuff. But I think that if anything, these late night hosts, like Hollywood that we keep complaining about, they didn't read the map correctly and they alienated people, and their ratings have been abysmal for a long time. Uh, it's a double issue. One, the landscape is changing. Two, these guys were super annoying. They went for all like the easy woke propaganda stuff and trying to pamper and cater to certain audiences that are the worst audiences to cater to. what I've noticed, this is what I've always noticed. When you're trying to do something and you're going for kind of middle America, or trying to cast the widest net for something that's more middle of the road, the type of audience you build a lot of times is a more quality audience that'll stay with you. Is people that will actually support you. When you go to those kind of like fringe, extreme left, whatever, those bubble people, and you go for that, that's not a quality audience. They're not going to stay with you. And at the end, the people that you really wanted will abandon you. This is like a Bud Light situation. Maybe it took many years to happen, and maybe it wasn't overnight, and CBS just kept pouring money into this for no reason. But it used to be that a lot of people in America watched a show like David Letterman, and Stephen Colbert absolutely alienated people.
Absolutely. Absolutely did. Yeah. So here's his little here's the little snippet. They posted this to Instagram.
We get to do this.
What about the 200 people who were watching? Oh, sorry.
I don't know if there's 200 people watching this.
Ooh, okay.
Ugh. That was difficult even to get through this.
That was
crap,
yeah,
but
even to get through that. Yeah. Oh, ugh. Jeez. Yeah. Let's see what some people in the chat are saying. Caleb Levine says they won't cancel Kimmel. They'll have him retire and bow out gracefully. But in reality, it will be because he was going to get canceled. That's very, very possible.
they're going to do the same thing. They did the same thing with James Corden. They're like, "Oh, James Corden wants to spend time with his family in London, and we feel so great about it. And now we won't even continue the show." Like, there always some stupid spin. There's really, this is a very simple game. You need viewers, and and you need sponsors. And if you don't have viewers and you don't have sponsors, and you're losing the network money, then it's not worth it to keep you. And if you ask me, I think that both Colbert and both Corden for many years have not been profitable. They've been just, you know, bloated, expensive shows that have not produced good audiences for many years. And I think that, like you said, once there's now some kind of merger and there's other business people coming in and you can't play those games anymore, I think that, there had to be some reckoning here. So they probably had contracts. Corden had a contract. They didn't want to renew it. Probably Colbert had a contract too. And they probably told him, "We're not going to renew your contract." And that's how he knew. Maybe he thought he would negotiate. Maybe his people are like, "We're going to negotiate a deal." And probably they got back to them and said, "There is no negotiation. When his contract ends in 10 months, he's done." And the fact that he even got until now, he should be so thankful. Stephen Colbert has not told a funny joke in at least like 7 years.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have not probably watched more than
Oh, Elizabeth
twice.
Quince, gotta run to a meeting. Have a great weekend. See you next week. Well, see you next week, Elizabeth. Nice to
Take
see you
care,
here.
Elizabeth Quince. Always glad to have you visit.
Always like seeing you here. Yeah. So
Yep.
just a shout out. And what is
Yeah,
it?
it's a brutal blow for late night, which already has been struggling in recent years, with CBS recently axing After Midnight, the show that replaced the Late Late Show with James Corden, instead replacing host Taylor Tomlinson, which I couldn't pick her out of a lineup. So
Yeah, I don't know who that is either. I don't think she was very funny. Anyhow, well,
yeah,
quickly before we start, for anybody that's new here, whether on the Rumble app, that's our headquarters, if you're watching through the app, if you're not yet signed up, 'cause you should also follow us and make sure you do the notifications so you always know when we're streaming. And if you're on another platform, then you should subscribe if you're on YouTube or wherever you're at. And yeah, that's it. Now, I guess let's start with Trump canceling Gavin Newsom's high-speed train.
well,
Uh,
federal funding for it anyway. Yeah,
right, but it's federal funding for his train. And you know what? That's been a train that they've been working on for years, and nothing happened to it.
yeah, it's been a real mess. Uh,
Like, the truth is, I mean, they took so much money and they've done nothing with it. I can't completely blame, Trump or whoever took this initiative. And the other thing is that, Gavin Newsom himself is so annoying that somehow he kind of deserves it.
Yeah. Backyard TARDIS, who's in the chat, says, I don't know about the political points of it, but I was so excited they finally found a way to get the speed train built because it has desperately been needed, but held up by environmentals for the past 40 years. He also said it's really sad that Colbert outlasted Conan. Indeed. But Conan just decided he wanted to do something different. He didn't really get canceled. He just decided, like, he just was tired of the grind and wanted to do something a little bit different. And so, yeah, he shifted over to TBS and did something a little bit different. And then he shifted to some online stuff. I guess, is he supposed to have a Netflix show? I think I don't remember, or it was on Max, something on Max. I don't know. But
Not
yeah, I
even
haven't gotten
sure.
to see a lot of his stuff since he left being a regular on late night, and it was incredibly frustrating how he got screwed over. Yeah, with the Tonight Show, that was nasty business.
Because they never gave him a fair chance. They
No, they
just
never gave him a chance.
Kivo 1961 says, "Does this mean I can't go to Merced for sunny Bakersfield now on a super train?" Yeah, I guess you can't.
Yeah, Merced
Sorry.
from Sunny Bakersfield. Yeah, I don't know. Did you have a particular story you wanted to show, or?
Yeah, there was something that I guess I wanted to see. I mean, the thing is also, I don't know. I'm not a fan of Gavin Newsom, and knowing
No.
how upset he is about this train thing, it kind of, you know. So this is what Trump was saying. Let me share this. So he wrote to the law-abiding, tax-paying, hardworking citizens of the United States of America. I am thrilled to announce that I've officially freed you from funding California's disastrously overpriced high-speed train to nowhere. This boondoggle led by the incompetent governor of California, Gavin Newsom.
It's
I love how
always new scum. Yeah.
I love how consistent he is with the Gavin Newsom. Has cost taxpayers hundreds of billions of dollars, and we have received nothing in return except cost overruns. The railroad we were promised still does not exist and never will. The project was severely overpriced, overregulated, and never delivered. Thanks to Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, not a single penny in federal dollars will go to this Newsom scam ever again. This was an ill-conceived and unnecessary project and a total waste of taxpayer money, but no more.
Mm-hmm.
I love how even this, like, he can't keep himself from writing new scum. And later I saw that, like, I think Gavin Newsom is like, don't you see, like, do you think it's normal that a president calls me new scum or something like that? I don't remember if he wrote it in a tweet or it was in an interview.
Oh, there was a tweet or something that he sent where he said he calls me new scum, but he's the real scum. And then he was talking about a video of illegals being arrested on a pot farm in California, which is, it's legal to have the farm, but it's not legal to hire undocumented workers to work there. And there were upwards of a dozen children at least who were there working. So he's arguing, he's like, oh, you're the scum for showing up and arresting these people and deporting them when there were child labor laws being broken. So apparently Gavin Newsom is totally okay with child labor, or in the case of an undocumented worker, it's more like child slavery. So he's totally cool with that, but not arresting illegals in his state. So
Yeah. I don't know. It's like, it's rare. I'm telling you that there's like, it's not that all day I sit around and think of politicians from one party or another that I really like or really dislike. There is a few rare ones that I feel like they don't rub me the right way. Gavin Newsom is high on that list. Maybe because, and I've told you this before, and I won't start going into it again for a million hours. But back in the day, especially when there was the coup, there were things that were happening on a professional level for me that had to do with California, and his policies really, really, hurt people that were trying to get work done or do things. And he did things that were very, it was a combination that not only did he do things that I think weren't right, he was also a big hypocrite about it, and his whole demeanor and behavior was annoying. He manages to not only do things that are annoying, but his whole vibe and energy annoys me. Um, I saw recently, and I think this was a video also in recent days, that he was on some interview, and he was trying to now reframe this narrative that maybe he made some mistakes during coup, but he's like not taking responsibility for the mistakes. He's just kind of, trying to sort of place the blame on other people. Do you remember what I'm talking about? I think there was something
Of course.
in the past few days. There was something that I was babbling about, and it's like, dude, just shut up. Like I this guy like shouldn't be. I what I will say is that I know people that are more like left leaning, and there are people that just because they agree with his party or whatever it is, they will support that guy. It surprises me, how much does he have to ruin your own state for you to continue to support him? But there are people that just will blindly support him. I'm never like that. I'm never like that, not for Republicans and not for Democrats. That's why I always tell you that I reserve the right to vote any way that I want, And at the end of the day, even when I do, I don't put all my hopes like on people in power. I mean, I hope that it'll be okay, but I don't just blindly put everything there and say yes. Like some people I think have been taking this a bit too serious. Um, which is why we've been seeing also backlash to Trump. Which, if you were more like sort of moderate person like myself, you wouldn't be and more practical and more realistic. You wouldn't be sitting there all day like having meltdowns about the guy. Yeah, you could say that he mishandled that thing with those files or whatever it is, but at the end of the day, I think people sometimes need to just take a step back and recognize how the system works and all that kind of stuff, even if they don't like it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But in any case, Newsom, not my favorite politician. I think, you know, maybe if I had to think of people that I dislike, or I don't want to know if to say dislike, I don't prefer more than Newsom, I would say like Elon Omar.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I prefer Elon Omar less than Gavin Newsom. Meaning, if now I had to vote for either Elon Omar, there's some election somewhere, and I have to vote for either Elon Omar or for Gavin Newsom, I guess I'd vote for Gavin Newsom, and it would be like I would be suffering. That's what I would do. Like AOC also is kind of like in that group. Maybe like Rashida
Oh,
Tlaib or whatever.
Rashida Tlaib. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blah.
I actually think her name is
This-
Rashida Tlaib. I don't know why they keep saying it's Tlaib. Don't you write her name Rashida Tlaib?
Rashida.
I would think that in Arabic you probably say like Rashida Tlaib. That's what
Yeah, it's
Tlaib.
Tlaib.
That
Yeah.
her name is like Rashida
Tlaib.
Tlaib. That's what her name probably is, but for some reason I guess people don't know how to pronounce it, so they say it the other way. But again, I've spent time abroad, so I have like a more a keener understanding of international names.
Well,
That's just
the pronunciation guide on Wikipedia says Talib. Talib. So
I
I don't know.
disagree. I disagree with it. I think that somebody from somewhere like an Arabic speaking country should probably tell us how to say it, because I have a feeling that even the Wikipedia isn't accurate. Why would she write her name like that if that's not how her name is pronounced? But
Oh, I
never
don't know.
mind. That doesn't matter anyways.
Yeah.
It doesn't change my sentiments towards her, that's for sure. So I don't prefer Rashida Tlaib or Talib or whatever you want to call her. And then in addition, maybe like Jasmine Crockett, not my favorite.
Oh my goodness.
And then maybe like Mamdani, like Zoran Mamdani or whatever his name. These are like 5 politicians that I can think of that are like not my favorite.
Yeah.
That Mamdani guy is probably going to win. It's going to be such a disaster for New York. I mean, I did
Oh yeah.
live many years in New York. I'm technically, I would say that I'm technically originally a New Yorker, even though I'm not in New York. There, I'm in the area, but I'm not exactly there. But for me, it's sad that they would elect somebody like that because he's promising like free stuff. It sounds so deranged that somebody in our day and age can come and do this kind of like sell this kind of commie dream.
Oh, and then there's the guy in is it in Minnesota?
Oh, the
Who
guy that
who's um oh
his name is
gosh.
Omar something.
Yeah.
I don't remember. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know
Yeah.
exactly who you mean. Yeah, I don't know. Is Minnesota where there's a population of a lot of people from that area, or so there's a reason why they're running there, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, where? Let me see if I can find the story about it.
Listen, I don't know. I mean, it's a democracy, and people are here, and they're allowed to run. So it's not that I can tell you that they are doing something or not, they're not allowed to do. It's just for me, it's a shame that the people that come from these specific, like somebody like Ilan Omar, that was sort of taken in. She ran away from Somalia. She was taken in here. Most people would come to the place that took them in and be sort of patriotic and happy and all that stuff. She's a case where she came here and all she is miserable and seemingly hates the place. So if you're miserable and you hate the place and you love like where you came from so much, which was a terrible place, like there were terrible things going on there, and to come here and then bring this kind of like bitterness and just hatred. I just don't like that. It's I don't like to go as far as saying, oh, go back to where whatever. I mean, I don't want to say stuff like that. I always like to give people a chance. If she came here and she wanted a better life, I don't have an issue with that. But the fact that she would come here to get a better life and all she does is hate the place, that's the part that bothers me. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yep. Yep. It's yeah, Omar Fatah, Omar Fatah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
he's running
terrible. Is that his
for
name?
mayor of Minneapolis, and yeah, he's a Somali.
Is he
Uh
leading? He'll probably win.
and yeah, he's talking about all sorts of wild stuff. He's running for mayor under the Democratic Party. As far as I know, there's not going to be like a runoff or anything like that. But he's saying he's running for mayor of Minneapolis, pledging to raise the minimum wage, freeze rent, and Trump-proof the city.
I see. Well, good luck with that. I don't
Yeah,
know what
yeah.
to tell you. It's just a whole disappointment. This thing, and I always say this. I'm a live and let live guy. I don't care if people came from different places as long as like they did it properly, um, and they're here and everything legit and all that. But like I said, to come here from another place, to a place that embraced you, just to then run and say how much you hate it, and that's the same with that like Mamdani guy. He hasn't been even a citizen for just a few years, and he's running to be the mayor, like the mayor of New York. That's just embarrassing. I don't know. I mean, back in the day, and I lived there at the time, you had somebody like Bloomberg. And trust me, I don't love Michael Bloomberg. I found him like pompous and condescending and annoying. Not my favorite guy. But at the same time, at least he was a businessman. He understood that business has to be done in the city. He wasn't like, he had policies that annoyed me, and I haven't changed that position. But at least like it was a guy that I didn't think he didn't have, I didn't think that he couldn't be a mayor. I just didn't like a lot of stuff that he did. Giuliani, again, there were things that he did that I think were good. Maybe some things people didn't like, but overall, he cleaned up the city. I mean, there was so much crime and so much stuff, especially like in Times Square, turned it into like a tourist attraction. That was considered like a big win. Uh, again, you think of stuff like 9/11 or whatever. I thought that he was at least a guy. He was a decent mayor. Yeah, I don't know this, and now we have like this Mamdani guy that's just like embarrassing. I don't know. It just bothers me, and I'm not even in New York, and it bothers me.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near New York. And just the idea that somebody who's such just this raging socialist who's, well, I'm going to hand out this and give you that and raise taxes on the rich and cut your taxes because you're poor. And I'm going to decide who wins and who loses economically. Like I'm going to take over grocery stores and run state owned, city owned grocery store. Like it's, oh my God, it's everything out of the socialist playbook that has been proven over and over again to be a disaster.
Yeah, it
And
never
the
works. Why?
and
Why do they keep?
the only thing they can do is say, "Oh, it's never been actually, it's never been done the right way."
That's the same crap I've been hearing for
Yeah,
decades.
that's the only argument they ever have. "Oh, well, they never really did it the right way."
There is no right way. It it's not realistic. Once you go into this thing where, like, you're gonna get everything and you don't do anything, and the government does
Yeah,
everything and gives you everything, you're it just historically doesn't work. It
yeah, yeah.
causes a situation where people, uh, they don't have ambition and
It disincentivizes people from having, as you said, ambition. It disincentivizes the work ethic. If you literally say, "All right, everybody's going to work and everybody gets their fair share," but then you say, "Well, but some people can't work. Such and such. This guy, no, he's not going to work. So okay, he's not going to work, but he's still going to get all the same benefits that you get putting in 40 hours a week. So what is the benefit to you putting in 40 hours a week? There is absolutely nothing there to incentivize you to put in that time. So then you quit your job, and the guy who used to work across from you in that other cubicle or across the factory line or whatever, he quits working too, because he's still going to get the same amount of food, he's still going to get the same amount of clothing, he's still going to get a house and a car and all, whatever it is that goes along with this socialist regime. And so then everyone quits. Well, what happens now? We can't produce anything. So what has to happen? Well, now people are forced to work at the barrel of a gun, are forced to go to their jobs, and then some people are still allowed to not go to work for whatever reasons there are. Perhaps they are disabled, or perhaps they're just friendly with the local politicos or whatever that are running their area. And so they don't have to work. And well, then there's all the people who are running the system. They're saying, well, now I have to oversee all of these people. Why should I get the same tiny apartment and the same amount of food and the same amount of whatever when I have to oversee all of these other people? I should get more. And so then that begins to very slowly just completely obliterate this idea of this ridiculous social construct that is socialism. It does not work. And it is ridiculous, these people that still try to sell this stuff, that somehow they genuinely believe that the government can centrally control something as big as even a city economy, much less a state or national economy. It can't work. It doesn't work, and it is rife with corruption. But people, nope, nope, nope. It's just never been tried. It's never been done the right way, and it's ridiculous. These people are out for one thing. They want to make sure that they can be handed power by these people that they're going to give all these handouts to, and they're going to do it in a way that they believe that what they really want is to permanently hold power over you, so that they can decide whether or not you get to have that surgery, whether or not you get to have that loaf of bread, what kind of car you drive, whatever. But it's always the same thing from 1984 into Animal Farm, right? Animal Farm, the infamous line, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others, right?
right.
That is always where it goes every single time. And it is ridiculous, especially, I mean, we've had so many examples of this. Oh, we're going to have state-run grocery stores. We're going to make sure that everybody can buy their groceries cheaply because we're going to bring these things in and we're going to sell them at the cheapest prices we can. It's going to hurt, farmers, ranchers, anybody providing the stuff to those stores. There's going to be if it's going to be cheaper there than anywhere else, well, they're going to have food shortages. They're not going to be able to have enough. They're going to run legitimate businesses out of out of the business, and so then you're going to end up with these areas that have nothing. They have no privately run grocery stores because they've been priced out of the business by these, by this communist idea of having these, state-run grocery stores that can sell things cheaper than anyone else. And then when those collapse because too many people have to go there, that it's the only thing they've got, in all of Harlem, there's only just the one, or two city-run grocery stores now because all the other stores have left because they can't make a profit. Now that store just gets completely obliterated. All of their bread is gone, all the food is gone, there's nothing there. And so then they have shortages and then people suffer. Right. But that's kind of the universal when it comes to communism, socialism, is that everyone gets to suffer equally. That's the ideal that they're really shooting for anyway.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. It's so frustrating to see. I mean, you know what? Yes, I had this discussion with somebody else. Like, yeah, all of these young people supporting somebody like Mamdani or this Fatah guy. You know what? Young people, they are stupid. They make stupid decisions. It happens a lot. But somebody has to be there to tell them you are doing something stupid, and they've got to step up and try to make changes so that they, that just because there's a lot of young people who are going to go support somebody's bad ideas, that they're not, not going to be able to win just for that. Which reminds me, did you see the other thing that happened today in the UK price with the
No,
voting?
what happened?
So the Labour Party that's currently in control has announced that they're now going to push the legal voting age down to 16 for
Wow.
all national elections.
And you think that's really going to happen?
Oh, they're going to do it. They've said like it's happening. Like there's essentially nothing nothing in their way to stop it. Like it's going to happen, which this is, I'm sorry, is madness. It's so stupid. You're talking about, these people who, legitimately they have no business voting because they're incredibly easy to manipulate. They're not educating, 16-year-olds. They're not going to go out and educate themselves about issues.
Right.
They're just going to go for whatever the meme is or whatever the latest thing is. They're not actually, these are not fully developed human beings. Their reasoning centers of their brain do not function at 16 years old, right? It's
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
dumb. And I've seen the arguments, if they're old enough to fight in a war, they're old enough to vote. No, first of all, 16-year-olds are not old enough to fight in war, not except in the very worst of all circumstances when a country is in its worst possible state. And yes, you can sign up for the military at 17, but you don't actually get to serve on the front lines. It's 18 years old, right? Like in some cases, I think that might actually be a little too young, to be honest. And so, but it's oh no, we're just gonna open up all these elections to these people who are barely cognizant enough to even like drive a car. they're not allowed to drink. I mean, I don't know what the drinking age is in the UK, but like not allowed to drink or smoke or make any of these other lifelong decisions. But no, we're gonna let them be these easily manipulated fools. Uh, that can come in and vote, and it's stunning, just stunning. Anyway, I digress, but
Yeah, well, what can you do? How did we get here? The high-speed train. Yeah,
yeah.
so that's not going to happen, I guess.
Well, as
And
far as
then
I know, California's still continuing to work on it, but it has been the plans have been scaled down like 5 times, and it's been on hold for decades at this point, and it's all being held up by different political factions. It's been especially held back by different environmental groups. They continue to demand, oh, did this environmental study, that environmental study, whatever. Um, but I will say, going back just a little bit again, Backyard TARDIS, who is in California, we know Backyard TARDIS. He was saying, Price, I'm not political, but nobody in California likes Newsom. They just don't want to vote for the other guy. It's kind of like Texans and Ted Cruz. Well,
I see. There was something else that Trump had something some illness that they discovered or something like.
oh yes, he was having some issues with leg swelling, which the guy's how old?
Yeah, let me see.
Considerably elderly at this point. Yes, I believe the diagnosis was chronic venous insufficiency, if I remember correctly.
I think it's this here. I
Did I
pulled it
pull it
up.
up? Yeah. Um, yeah. So he was had some issues with leg pain and some swelling, and so yeah, the doctor's note there, which obviously there's something wrong. The doctor's report for Donald Trump. So suddenly, all of the mainstream press is going to be very interested in the health of the president, where they hadn't been for the past 4 years. So, but now it's going to be really important for them to talk about.
Right.
Um, but yeah, venous insufficiency incredibly common in people as they age. Um, it's essentially there's nothing really that you can do to treat it. Just something that you watch for, and I'm not sure if they mentioned it had something to do with a previous blood clot or something. There was some mention of deep vein thrombosis. I'm not sure if they said that was something they needed to look for, or that let's see, I can't read that because it's too tiny. But um, or maybe it was just something. Oh, there was no evidence of deep vein thrombosis. Um, so yeah.
Well, there's also I see that Elizabeth Warren. I guess a lot of politicians are now sad that Stephen Colbert is going. He was like their mouthpiece. He just sat there on
Oh,
late night, and whatever their propaganda was, he'd push it all day and all night. He couldn't even tell a funny joke. I've said this before that like Dave Chappelle, in my opinion, I have things that he believes in that I don't believe in, and some of his politics are not what I believe in. Very much not what I believe in. But one thing I'll give Dave Chappelle, even if it's something that I completely disagree or even like annoys me, like I think this is annoying me, I will still say that the man knows how to tell a funny joke. You know what I'm saying? Like
oh
I
yeah.
I can't take away from him that if he wants to sit and tell jokes, he can tell them in the way that will make me laugh, even though there's things, he is of a certain I don't know how to get into this and do this elegantly. There's certain things in his background and his beliefs that are actually more extreme than you think, and once in a while kind of his more extreme views rear their head, and I actually don't love some of his extreme views. And with all of that being said, I will say that if he sits and stands and does, you give him a mic and he tells some jokes, he can still make me laugh. And that's really the power that somebody has, that he's that good at the craft of making people laugh. Stephen Colbert had none of that. Stephen Colbert, like I said, his niche was that Colbert show where he did that character. Once you took that away from him, he has never been able to really find anything remotely funny to do. So all he could do was like the TDS for basically what people say, like, you do stuff for clicks or whatever it is. He just was like, okay, I'll continue to do this, like, TDS thing. Maybe I'll get some clicks, but it's sort of like a one trick pony. I mean, obviously, it would be diminishing return.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know even maybe some people that were maybe like even agreed with his political opinions, and I also think that they don't feel like sitting there and listening to him all day. It's only really kind of extreme weirdos that were at some point willing to sit and listen to him.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think, at least.
Yeah. Back in the day, all of the nighttime, shows, we had Johnny Carson, and we had, it's just they would ride the fence, I guess it would be one way to say it, or they just wouldn't get overtly political most of the time, right? They would do it was almost like, I mean, not to the level of offensiveness, but it was a South Park kind of thing. Like, everyone was fair game, right? You could make
Right.
fun of Joe Biden, and you could make fun of Donald Trump. You could make fun of whoever on whatever side of the political spectrum, if there was a joke to be made. Okay, that was fine. And they also, most of the time, they weren't particularly like just mean spirited and vicious. They were just having fun. Like, it's a version of speaking truth to power, right? Like, well, this congressperson, they did something stupid, said something stupid, whatever. So we're gonna have a laugh at them, and it didn't really matter which side of the aisle they were on. And so you you got to have that where, they were taking the piss out of whoever, and we get that in South, like, genuinely, I am not the biggest South Park fan, but they pick their targets, and they don't really care what side of the political spectrum they're on, or how famous they are, or anything. There's something there to be mocked, to be derided, and they go after it, and they tell those jokes. And sometimes people get really offended, sometimes people get really pissed off, but everyone's fair game. And in this latest generation, really, of all of these late night shows, it's 24, well, not 24/7, because they haven't been doing their shows on Fridays for a long time, right? All of these shows moved to just 4 days a week, like 3 or 4 years ago.
Right.
And then they're doing reruns all the time and taking 2-week breaks and whatever. But anyway, when they're on, yeah, it's just nothing but Trump bashing, Republican bashing, conservative bashing. That's all they have.
I
And
think that Jay
yeah,
Leno wasn't my favorite out of all of
no, no,
these, but
no,
but I'll say that Jay Leno at least understands the business. He in
yeah,
recent years has been vocal a number of times that he wasn't happy with what happened to late night. Meaning he was one of the only people that saw it and spoke up and said, it shouldn't be so political. And he was absolutely right. I mean, as much as out of all of those ones that everybody likes, I thought Jay Leno was professional enough, but there was something a little bit too middle of the road for me with Jay Leno. Like, Conan had more of an edge, David Letterman had more of an edge. Johnny Carson was better than all of these people. Johnny Carson, I thought, was really, really, really good. It was just so natural. I know that in his private life, maybe he was a jerk or whatever people say about him, but you know what? Once those cameras rolled, Johnny Carson knew how to run a show.
oh yeah, no, I loved. I mean, I was fairly young even when he retired, but I loved his show. I loved the
When I was young,
comedy. Yeah.
I'd stay up late and watch I'd stay up late and watch it. And yeah, I mean, I always, even as a kid, I found him funny.
Yeah, he was great. He was great. It's someone, Yitis mentioned Tom Snyder. Yes. Yes, I would watch Tom Snyder. I really enjoyed his, more interview-centric, show, but it had plenty of good, humor
Sometimes
and
he was a bit
solid
of a
interviews.
douche, but yeah, he was
Yeah, he
okay.
could be, but, they had some pretty solid interviews and yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I always remember that he had this interview with John Lennon, which like is such a spooky interview. Have you ever seen that one?
Yes, I have.
The one that John Lennon brings his lawyer.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is such a weird. It's
It's
like
been a
he.
long time since I've seen that, but I remember someone recommended that years ago, and I was like, "What?" And so I went to go look it up. I was like, "Oh my god, this is crazy."
Right. I mean, the thing is that it's the only time that I've seen like a celebrity like bring a lawyer to an interview. It was so strange, and it was like you could tell that that was a very fancy, expensive lawyer. It was such a surreal situation. That was such a surreal interview, but a very interesting one, nevertheless. I think, at least.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that interview happened long before I was watching Tom Snyder, but yeah, that was really that was his final that was his last interview before he was assassinated. So
Yeah, that was a big interview, and it was very. It was very interesting because you learn how much the U.S. had an issue with him here. To be honest, though, and I really I'm saying this as a huge John Lennon fan. I say this about all these other people. He came to the U.S. and from that moment, I'm going to be careful here because I don't want to step on any toes. But I feel like Yoko Ono was very much this kind of political activist, and she herself came to this country, and so did he. And they were like actively going to all these political conventions and doing all this stuff. It's like, guys, you're barely even you're not even citizens here. You know what I'm saying? They were ruffling a lot of feathers, and I'm not trying to throw Yoko Ono under the bus, but I don't know if John Lennon wasn't married to her, if he would have been as political. Do you get what I'm saying?
mhm. Yeah, I think she definitely was pushing him to be more of an activist at the time, than he had been before.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and it's unfortunate because in some cases, you say, well, it's a guy that doesn't have a lot to offer anyway, so he may as well just do politics. But when it's John Lennon, it's really a shame that instead of like focusing on the music, he's dealing too much with politics, which in my opinion he shouldn't have been doing.
Mhm.
But that's just my 2 cents. In any case, trying to think if I can find some piece of that thing with the lawyer. Lennon. What was Tom Snyder?
Tom Snyder.
Okay, let's see if somebody has like the full. Okay, let's see if I can share it.
Beatlemania thing. Nowadays, it's nothing like that. I mean, I can walk down the street and somebody just say, "Oh, hi, John," and they
I'm
usually say,
trying to
"How's
see
your
if I can
immigration?"
find.
If it's in New York, right?
This was the best
Now,
part.
there's lots of
Can you
musicians.
hear it?
Paul,
Mhm.
people they have to sort of do a lot of ritual to get in before they can come and go. So we tried to say, look, we have this big case, we need to come in, and there was always a hassle and a hassle and a hassle, and then they started trying to throw me out.
All right, so we're at the point now where it might be helpful to have Mr. Wilds, your attorney, present, just so that nothing is said that might prejudice.
Well, it's really in case you have a question that I can't answer. They ask me what's happening with you, and I say, well, there's some paper went to some senator that called, and I don't know who
All
they
right,
are.
fine. We will have Mr. Leon Wilds, Mr. Lennon's attorney, join us after these announcements. Tomorrow we'll take away from Manhattan in 2 minutes and 5 seconds.
This is like he was talking to him about all this
Joining
stuff,
John
and then
Lennon
he's
with
like,
us
"Well,
now is
now
Mr.
we have his
Leon
attorney
Wilds, his
here."
attorney, and if any questions come up to the as to where it stands,
It
or
was
where
not
it is
common in
in
an
the courts or
interview like
legal
this that the
appeals or
guy
whatever,
suddenly has a lawyer that
Mr.
you never
Wilds
even
has
saw
the
him until this
expertise to
moment.
speak to those points.
Yeah.
It's nice on television. You were told it might be a good idea to wait for 9 months before applying for citizenship?
No, this was after the bust in England. before applying to visit the United States.
I see.
That it would be a cool idea. That's sort of, it would be a cool idea.
What is your status in the country right now?
That's why Leon's here. What am I, Leon?
Well, John was charged with being deportable in the United States for being an overstay by a very interesting turn of events. The district director of the New York Immigration Service charged him with being an overstay after he gave him a 2-week extension of his time. And in the middle of that 2-week period,
He was here
revoked
on
it.
visa, right? And he
Yes.
overstayed. Is that the position?
He had
of the...
originally come in as a visitor, and he had had a number of extensions. And then finally, the Immigration Service gave him a 2-week extension. And right in the midst of that 2-week final extension, they revoked the period that they had given him, and they declared that he had been here as an overstay for the week that he had been here with their authorization. And thus the Immigration Service created the very status that they charged him with being deportable for. We fought that deportation case, and a decision was finally rendered after about a year that he was, in fact, an overstay. Now, the essential problem in a deportation case and what lies beneath the surface is that the only way one can get out of it is either to ask permission to leave this country voluntarily and get out, which John was not prepared to do, or to apply for permanent resident status. And the law prescribes that any person who had ever been convicted of any offense, no matter how small, relating to the possession of marijuana, at any time in his lifetime and under any circumstances, cannot obtain residence. And so that what was happening when the government did this little routine of revoking his stay and charging him with being an overstay, they were locking him actually into a position where the only application he could make was one which they were pretty sure he could never succeed in.
Which was?
Pardon?
The application that he would make would be one that he would
For
never
permanent
succeed
residence.
in. Permanent residence.
Yes.
All right.
Now, we applied for permanent residence for John and for Yoko. We won Yoko's case, and she was granted residence, but John's case was denied. We went up on appeal before the Board of Immigration Appeals, and we lost there as well. And we are now before the United States Circuit Court of Appeals on the same issue. And basically, on that case, the issue resolves itself into whether or not what happened in England amounts to possession under our law, and whether what he possessed in England was actually marijuana under our law. You see, the substance which John was
What do you
convicted
think
of
of all this,
possessing, he
Professor?
pleaded guilty, was called
What do you?
What he possessed was called cannabis, not marijuana. See, it's,
Right. Okay, this guy is like a slippery lawyer. But
Yeah.
what do you think about this whole situation? Do you think that I think that John Lennon, to whoever was in the government and all these agencies, they felt like this guy's not a citizen, but he's stirring up a ruckus here, and we don't like it.
Yeah.
And on the one hand, I'm a huge John Lennon fan, and I 100% like his music and all that stuff. I can sort of understand if you're not even a citizen of a country and you've come here and you're sort of perceived as causing problems. It's not a big surprise when the government isn't so happy with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you're coming over here and you're agitating and you're being an activist and everything, when you're here on a visa, and I think we're seeing a bit of a return to that now under Trump, right? Where they're like, you're here as our guest. A visa is not a right to be here that is irrevocable, right? That visa is means that you are allowed here as a guest of our, of this country. And someone says there in the chat, who's Phantom Outsider says, INS can revoke your stay at any time. It's in the rules. Yep, it is. They can say, sorry, you broke the rules. Sorry, you don't get to stay. Like, and there's really nothing that you can do about that. It's like there's we saw the guy, the degenerate guy over in the UK was saying all sorts of awful stuff about the Jewish community or whatever, saying the nasty stuff about the Israel, the IDF, and whatever. Where the U.S. said, "Oh, hey, you had a visa, now you don't."
Right.
So
I'm
yeah, I mean they I think yes, they did not want John Lennon to stay in the U.S. They wanted him to go. Interesting though that they would have granted the case for Yoko, but not for him.
Yeah, that is strange. I don't really get it. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm not saying I don't think that it would have mattered for how he started or ended his life, but I will say that I think that during the later years, it would have been nice if he worked more on music. I do feel like we missed out on some good John Lennon musical stuff because he was dealing with a bunch of, in my opinion, nonsense. But it is what it is. I guess I'm just greedy. I want like more good, music. And as opposed to politicians today, like as to artists that like want to be political today, I can kind of respect that at the time there was a war that just seemingly wouldn't end, and that there were years that he was against that war, and he was, you know, we hear about stuff like that today, and a lot of these kind of protesters today, they're just sorry, I don't know how else to say it, but they're kind of jerk offs. I don't think his intentions were necessarily bad. I think that people that were fed up with Vietnam. It was a complicated war, and a lot of Americans were dying. A lot of troops were dying. A lot of people were dying, and it was one of those wars that at some point I think that people had to ask what was being accomplished with that war. In my opinion, I'm not saying that I'm the number one expert in Vietnam, but one has to wonder how great of a war that was. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there were a lot of arguments, for and against. Why would we be over there? Oh, we're helping to hold up a democracy. We're helping to shut down communism, whatever. But then a lot of people started to look at the price of what we were doing to be over there to try and intervene in this foreign conflict, and a lot of people said we we really shouldn't be over there. We really don't have any business being over there, and trying to bolster or push back on whichever different ideology. Like it's not our this shouldn't be our fight. And there was quite a few people who said you can argue that oh well this country, if they become a socialist country, then all of the area around Vietnam, they're all going to become a socialist country, they're all going to become communist, and then it's going to have more there's going to be more vassal states to Russia and whatever. Like there was a lot of that kind of thing, those kind of arguments that in the end were not particularly persuasive. They were very much based on, well, if this happens, then this might happen, and then it was just a lot of strange algorithms in people's heads for how all this was going to work out. It was strange, but uh, then yeah, you had a lot of young people who were getting drafted into this, people who were not interested in serving in the military, who were going over there, some of whom were coming back wounded. They're coming, a lot of them never coming home at all, in this conflict. And a lot of people ask, they're like, why is our country involved in this other conflict when, like, no, it's not really benefiting us as a nation. We're not being attacked, right? And so there were a lot of people who were genuinely questioning, why is this going on? And it wasn't just hippies, right? Um, and we started to see a lot of that pride, the national pride, the Go America crowd start to shrink, because a lot of people saw us involved in that conflict, that one, we were not particularly winning, and second, that a lot of people felt we should never have been part of in the first place. So
Yeah, I don't think that it's considered a big win for the U.S. today.
No, it is not at all. Not
So,
at all.
so when I think to myself that this was something that was like on his mind and something that he believed in, I can sort of respect it. It wasn't one of those strange, like, sorry, I have to bring it up, one of those like weird gays for Gaza or whatever it is. Like he he wanted to do something like world peace, and he meant it. And I feel like maybe his intentions were even good, and he was in a good place to try to do that. But I, at the same time, can understand why, if he came to a country that wasn't his country and that annoyed people, and the local authorities were saying like, "Hey, you're here like as a guest, we don't want that here." He went and he wanted to do, like, I think he did concerts outside like the Republican National Convention, all this stuff. Like, dude, don't. And this is also not today. Even, you know what, today Trump would get really annoyed and probably do the exact same thing. But back in the day, you didn't have all this social media and stuff. Like, he annoyed, the authorities. Like, they thought that he was a nuisance, and I could at least somewhat see why they would think he was annoying. Don't know if they hassled him. Don't know if it was worth it to try to revoke his visa, which at the end I think they ended up returning. I don't know if it was all worth it, but at the end of the day, I can also understand the other perspective in this rare occasion. I guess I can understand both perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I haven't looked for a second on our YouTube. Is there anything? Have you looked on the YouTube page recently?
Yeah, no, there's no, I don't have any fan funding or anything.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure, because recently a few times I didn't notice, or there was one that was too late, like Blade Nicotero. So sorry about that. I apologize every time to him now. Phantom Outsider, my dad served before Vietnam, was in charge of armories. He was pissed as when he knew the weapons the troops were given were not suited to the jungle they were fighting in. Yeah, I think that somebody says U.S. won the Cold War. That's true. Some people would still say, well, we don't know what would have happened if they didn't go into Vietnam. I can't really tell you. It just always feels like a war that too many Americans died in. And maybe even non-Americans. Maybe just too many people died there.
Yeah. My stepdad is Adam Gray said, I was born 5 days before my dad was leaving for Vietnam. They gave him a pass. My stepdad was actually, he was drafted. He did go to to basic, and he was training, and they were doing where you have to practice jumping out of a helicopter and riding down the rope, and they would drop you off. And guy behind him shoved him, and he fell out of the helicopter without the rope, and he landed but blew out his knees. And
I see.
to this day, he still has trouble with his knees, but he says, I'm fine with it. Those knees got me home. I didn't have to go to Vietnam. So it's
let me I'm trying to think. Sorry, I was looking at something. In any case, I don't know how we got to all this Vietnam talk. Somebody said
well, we're talking about,
right. No, I did it. It was me. Like, I'm not putting that on you. I did it. I just I first of all, CB Van says Jerome too late Powell. Is he going to fire that guy? I feel like now he wants to fire him, but can he fire him, Professor?
There is a process to remove him. Trump says it's not happening. We're not actually going to do that. Other people inside the administration have said that the process is being looked at, and they're looking at what they can do to potentially remove him. So,
well, they already tried to throw a scandal on him and see how far they can go.
Yeah, they're burning $2.5 billion on their the Fed headquarters.
Yeah. So you can tell they're trying to think creatively. How do we pin some scandal on him? How do we? Not that it's even pinning; it's probably true, but it's like they're trying now to pressure him in different ways. That thing with the Fed and the $2.5 billion didn't just come out of left field. They don't want to fire him, but they want him to leave. They're basically, if you've ever watched House of Cards, This is the Frank Underwood phase, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, they kind of blew all of their. They blew everything that they might have had as far as energy on this whole just complete uh, cock up that has been the Epstein stuff. So that's just now they've got to deal with all the fallout from that and how it's been handled so poorly by Bondi and I mean Trump as well. So they did say today, you know, as far as updates on that, Trump has directed you know the AG to release grand jury transcripts, and apparently they're going to be in front of court tomorrow, and they're going to unseal all the transcripts from the grand jury that took place. So um yeah, I don't know. We'll see what comes of that. But I read a few think pieces today on that whole thing, and a lot of people were like, kind of like what we said, Price. Like, what did you think was going to happen? And one guy was talking about how he's been reporting on this stuff and has been involved in reporting on cases and around Epstein for a long time, and he's like, there was never going to be a smoking gun. It wasn't going to happen. um that's just not what's out there in these files. So um I don't know. But we'll see what happens with the whole grand jury thing there. But yeah, with Powell, yeah, I don't know. I guess I think there is a process for them to go through to request his dismissal from the Fed. But I don't. Yeah, we'll see.
It's probably complicated, and
yeah,
it
it's
also,
not. It's not something where Trump can just say you're fired, right? There's like a whole thing they have to go through.
Phantom Outsiders say last month, thanks to tariff, that were a bad idea. The U.S. ran a surplus for the first time in decades. Oops.
Yeah, actually, have you seen that story, Price? I actually have that. I had that on reserve for Tuesday, and we had plenty of other stuff to talk about here. I can share. Yeah, there you go.
NMM says, what was the best movie inspired by a Vietnam War?
Oh,
I'll let you answer that, Professor. I'm not really good at that.
Movie inspired by Vietnam. Ooh. I mean, there's plenty of films that happened around that. God, the best one. I mean, Platoon is really good. Let's see what I would say probably Platoon would be the one that I would say the most about, although it's been forever since I saw that. Um, Obviously, there's the Deer Hunter, which comes, after Vietnam, right? That movie, incredible movie, but my God, such a hard watch,
That's the problem for me. Is I honestly have to tell you, I don't love those kind of movies in general.
Yeah.
They're a bummer for me. If I had to say, and really a lot of them I may in some cases, there's some even classics that I haven't seen. Some maybe
Yeah.
I've seen many years ago. I think Apocalypse Now.
Yeah,
For
I would
me,
say Apocalypse Now, definitely. Again, it's a hard watch, man. That's a
yeah, I never want to watch it
really
again.
heavy
Yeah.
movie. I mean, most Vietnam films are going to be, but yeah, Apocalypse Now, Platoon, Full Metal Jacket is another one. Yeah, Deer Hunter. Someone mentioned Born on the 4th of July. Yeah, all of these are all really solid films, really, and some of them really, really moving films. Like I said, Deer Hunter, incredibly moving. My God, the other day somebody asked, favorite performance of Christopher Walken, and I said Deer Hunter. I mean, uh, if watching him in that movie doesn't just bring you to tears, uh, j- it's so sad. But yeah, there's a lot of great film. I mean, Full Metal Jacket is probably one of the most iconic.
Yeah.
But Platoon's a really, really good film. I said been a very long time since I've seen that. And Born on the 4th of July. I don't honestly, I don't even really remember Born on the 4th of July. I'm certain I've seen it, but it just doesn't really stick out as much as some of the others. But yeah,
You know,
Apocalypse
I
Now.
don't even think
Yeah,
I've seen that one. I don't
yeah,
even think I've seen it's like people are like, "Oh, it's such a great performance from Tom Cruise," but you know what?
yeah,
Those movies just depress me. I
yeah.
It's not my scene. I
Yeah,
like science fiction.
I'm kind of with you, man. I had a friend growing up who was a huge war movie fan. Like that was kind of like a genre that he really enjoyed. So
Tropic Thunder
I saw
and Joe Dirt.
Tropic Thunder. Yeah, Forrest Gump.
Hamburger Hill, I remember that one.
Forrest Gump is also a Vietnam movie. We could put that one in there.
You know what?
Um,
I like what happens there. I think that Forrest Gump handled it in a way that's more palatable,
yeah,
for me.
something got jumped up and bit me.
I mean, as much as today, like, Tom Hanks is annoying and whatever, I actually thought he was good in that movie. That's probably his best role to date is probably that.
Yeah.
Somebody said, Caleb Levine, King of New York, is Christopher Walken's best work. I think I've only seen that movie once, and he's kind of crazy in it. It's
I don't
certainly
think
an
I've ever seen
interesting.
that one.
I saw it only once many years ago. I remember it's an entertaining movie for some reason, and Christopher Walken is very Walken in it, if you know what I mean.
Oh yes,
Good
he's
Morning Vietnam. That's
full
a
walking.
Vietnam movie that I prefer because at least it has Robin Williams doing his comedy amidst the backdrop of this like terrible thing that's happening. So it's
Sure.
more sort of palatable for this one too. I prefer movies like that. The ones that are like, hey, we want you to feel like you're in the battlefield. Those are the ones that like depress me.
They're very intense, and sometimes you're just not prepared to really take in all of that during just for a full 2 hours, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me think for a second. We talked about this surplus. Uh, Forrest Gump made the Vietnam War more palatable for you, Bryce. Did you hear that correctly? I don't know if palatable is the right word, but I'm saying that you watch it in a setting that's a little bit escapist, and it's easier to watch it. Once it's so gritty and realistic that it wants to bring you into that atmosphere and wants you to be there. It starts like being depressing. And the way I see it, and I can only speak for myself, there have always been very depressing things in the world. And I think from when I was young, what I really was interested in is movies that kind of took me away to somewhere else. I wanted to feel like somewhere. I'm not saying it always has to be positive, but I don't want to be just put in the real world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
On
yeah,
the
I mean,
battlefield.
entertainment as escapism, I think that's pretty common,
I
as
didn't like MASH either. That's to be honest. I saw the movie, I saw some of the episodes of the show, but it was never a show that I was hooked on. I know some people like love that show and it was the best thing that ever happened to them. Anything that I have that's too war related, it's a bummer for me.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of MASH either. I've got a family member who's a huge fan of MASH, like, collected all the, on DVD and, that has, like, memorabilia and stuff from MASH, and, like, it was never something that particularly appealed to me, the very maudlin humor of that, so not that
Manchurian
it's bad,
Candidate.
it's just, yeah, never really did anything for me.
Manchurian Candidate is a good movie though. I will say that.
Yeah, there's a couple versions of that. Yeah.
Uh, you know, I don't know how people feel about the remake with Denzel Washington, but you know what? I kind of like that movie.
Yeah.
It's uh it's a movie that I found very enjoyable. It was kind of like spooky and weird and I liked it. Kind of movie I like. I don't think I've
Spooky and
ever seen
weird.
I don't think I've seen Hogan's Heroes, and That's like if you talk to me about movies, almost any kind of genre, styles, era, I probably have like so many movies that I've seen, and it'll be rare that you start like talking about movies and I have no idea what you're talking about or I haven't seen them. Only like Vietnam type of war or that you're in the war type of things are the ones that like you'll see my biggest lack of knowledge. Like in some cases I know the movies and I haven't watched them, or in some cases I know the movies, I've watched them once many years ago, never watched them again, and not a fan of them either. It is what it is. What can I do?
Yeah. Mhm.
More of a fry than mash person, personally. I don't know why Vex is saying this, but I'm sure she had her reasons.
Well,
And
you gotta. We all have our preferred, potato preparation methods. I don't know.
And then just quickly, I guess, because what I'm going to do is this. First of all, what do you prefer? I guess I can ask people here. First of all, I've seen the movie. I know what you did last summer, the new one. So either you get like a real time review, because I just a few hours ago saw it. Either you get a live early review, or we already go to the James Gunn and Superman. Which one do you prefer? I guess I'm asking the chat if you can hear me. We don't even have to do a poll. Just write whatever you want, and based on the amount of people, movie review or Superman first. Let's go. And you know what? Maybe I will open this YouTube thing. Recently there have been these little moths in my home. It really annoys me. Can't really explain it. Anyhow,
Yeah.
what are
Oh,
people saying in the chat? Review, movie review. Okay, well that seems pretty good. That is cool. So
Vex says we all know what you did last summer.
you do? What did I do last summer?
Oh, didn't think you wanted to talk about that on live on the show.
Uh,
You were here with me on Tuesday and Thursday nights.
okay, hold
Yeah.
on one second. So people are saying review?
Yeah, go for the review. Go for the
Okay,
review.
I'll do that.
Now I'm looking through this list of Vietnam movies and realizing I've seen a lot more of them than I thought. Bat 21 was another one that was about fighter pilots. Had Gene Hackman in it. So that was a good one.
Okay, so let me tell you something. A lot of times, Rotten Tomatoes, I don't agree with their score. And in this case, I have to say, I still don't agree with it, but only because I would give it a lower score. But I can't say they were generous with the score. So they've given, let me see if I can present it. I Know What You Did Last Summer, the 2025 kind of movie, sequel movie, whatever it is. They gave it a 38% from 91 reviews. The popcorn meter is 70%, which is, in my opinion, a sham. Because the thing is that Rotten Tomatoes, as I always tell you guys, it sells you the tickets. So if both the score and the popcorn meter are bad, that means nobody's going to buy tickets. And they want you to buy tickets because it's a new movie and they're getting a commission if you buy tickets here. So basically, they're usually, and this is just my opinion, even when the critics say one thing is bad, you'll suddenly see the popcorn meter isn't so bad. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
You could say that it's a convenient coincidence, but it almost always seems fishy to me. So in any case, they gave it a 38%. And I don't know if you saw the original. Did you ever see the original I Know What You Did Last Summer?
I did, and I hated it.
Well, I'll tell you.
Mostly because I felt like like with these kind of slasher films, kind of, or they're kind of mixed with like a whodunit or whatever, like who was responsible for killing the teens or whatever. Like usually in like a whodunit kind of film, like you've met the person, like you've spent time with the person who's responsible for all these killings. And then, like at the end of I Know What You Did Last Summer, it's like, oh, it's like that one guy that you saw for like 2 seconds and we never really knew who he was. Like it was it was him. What? Like the ending was completely unsatisfying. I guess is what I'm saying, and I really did not care for it. So,
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Let me let me put it this way. When it comes to slasher movies, and if you look at like quality movies like Halloween, even like the first Friday the 13th, these kind of Nightmare on Elm Street movies, when it comes to those kind of movies, and then you think of something like I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Know What You Did Last Summer is very kind of low level. If like those are A-list like horror movies, this is like I'm talking about the original 90s ones. They're sort of like B movies at best. Uh, but there is something that I don't completely hate about them. I think one of the reasons why I don't hate completely I Know What You Did Last Summer, the 90s ones, is that those actors at that time, the first movie had like Jennifer Love Hewitt, what's her name? Buffy, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
yeah,
I mean, I don't have any special sentiments towards like, Ryan Phillippe and whatever and Freddie Prinze Jr. But during that time, they were like kind of like the younger it actors. It's a very, very 90s movie that those are like the stars and like Jennifer Love Hewitt is like the main star or whatever it is. But you know what? The especially Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar, they were decent during their time. Like, yeah, they're not like A-list actresses. They're not the best thing that ever happened to like the world of acting. But for that movie, it had a certain amount of charm that I don't completely hate it. I I don't know why. They're not exceptionally good those movies, but I don't know if to say guilty pleasure. You can file it under a strange guilty pleasure. Yeah, this first and the second one of those movies at best it's like nostalgia slash guilty pleasure slash a few likable actresses or whatever. In this movie here, they wanted it to be a sequel that's also a reboot, like a soft reboot, whatever you want to call it. Those are the worst. Okay, those are
yeah,
always bad news. And out of all the times that I've seen that they tried this, that includes like the Force Awakens, which of course it's a much bigger franchise. But I'm saying like any example that I've seen that they've tried to do this thing that I saw here has to be one of the worst. It's like, you know, all they had to do is kind of rehash and do something and it would have been okay. I don't know who this lady is that wrote and directed the thing. I think people said that she was one of the writers of Thor Love and Thunder, which makes a whole lot of sense to me.
oof,
Let's see if I can find her name. It is director Jennifer Caton Robinson, which I believe that she was in that she co-wrote Thor Love and Thunder or wrote Thor and Love and Thunder. Never a good direction. I don't know why these people keep failing upward. This lady could not
yeah,
write a screenplay, in my opinion, or direct a movie if her life depended on it.
yeah. She's listed as a writer along with Taika Waititi and of course Stan Lee, who was just placed on there
Just
because
placed on there. Stanley had nothing to do with that
yeah,
abomination. So basically, she's like when Taika Waititi wants to write some crap, he calls this lady, and here he's not even with her, which it makes it somehow even worse somehow. Uh, she is not. I don't consider her neither a director because the parts of the slasher didn't work. The story with they have a new generation of girls that didn't work for me. And really, I don't like to say woke trash about stuff, but if there was ever a movie I could also throw the term woke trash on, I could paste it on this thing as well because any male in this movie doesn't get anything redeeming about him. Like I don't know if you remember in the original ones, Freddie Prinze Jr. is sort of a working man's kid, and the other people are sort of rich. And even though, like I don't know if to say he's great his character or not, there's a few moments that he's more heroic, and he actually is trying to protect, like his girlfriend, which is Jennifer Love Hewitt, and he comes off as like they try to at least present him as more heroic and chivalrous or whatever you want to call it. In this movie, they actually brought back Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie Prinze Jr. Again, it's a franchise that doesn't have many consequences, but it's like a Luke Skywalker and Last Jedi situation. Like they completely, it's not even the same character. You know what I mean? It's like they just brought him there to make him look bad. I don't really know how to explain. If I were him, I wouldn't have even taken this. I would have been like, "Fuck you." Sorry, Sean, would be like, I don't want anything to do with this. Screw you.
Yeah.
So you have that. The other thing is, and I don't know how to dance around this issue as well. Nothing I'm going to say is going to be well received here, but Jennifer Love Hewitt, okay, she apparently was a holdout because she wanted to get millions of dollars here. And at the end, they paid her millions of dollars to be in this movie. Now, nobody's paying me millions of dollars to be in a movie, but if they were, I think I would go to the gym and maybe try to lose a few pounds, if you know what I'm saying.
They want her to be her genuine self.
I disagree. I mean, like, again, if you held out to get millions of dollars to be in this, you know, it's like I don't know. I know this is a terrible thing to say because, like, I shouldn't be saying that, but here, this is
You're just an awful misogynist. So
okay. Let me share. Do you see this thing? This is what she looked like at the premiere. And in the movie, I think, like, somehow she looks even more. And again, as just a regular woman walking around in her, whatever her age is and whatever, it's fine. It's not like, I'm not saying that if somebody came to inspect me, everybody would be so pleased. Although I think that I may be thinner than her. but I'm not saying that people would be pleased, okay? I'm just saying that she's getting paid millions. You can get a trainer, eat some like salad for a few months, maybe go to the gym. Am I a terrible person, Professor?
Oh, sorry. It was it. I unmuted it and it stayed muted. I had to click on it a couple times. Yeah, I'm looking. I'm looking at a picture of Freddie Prinze Jr. and he doesn't look flabby or anything. Like doesn't look like he's had too many pork pies. He's looking all right.
Midnight's Edge After Dark. I heard Jennifer Love Hewitt ate Sarah Michelle Gellar. True story. You know what? It is possible. I mean, there's nothing I can say. It's like, here's the thing. Sometimes there's a situation where, like, well, she's a bit older. She could lose a few pounds. But I even think she may be skinnier here than in the movie. Like, in the movie, it is so obvious. And it's kind of, like, surprising. I don't know. And people are like, well, what do you expect? She's a grown woman. Yeah, I don't know if her profession is sort of like, being on screen and doing this. All I can say is this, and I can only say this about myself. If I was now in a movie and people paid me millions of dollars and I walk on screen and I look like I'm, I need like a real diet, and people sat there and even you sat there and you said, hey, look at you. You look like you ate the other cast members. You suck. What I do? I'd probably laugh. You know what I mean? Like I'd agree. I wouldn't. I guess what I'm saying is that I'm not suggesting that I should be in the movie. I'm just saying that if I was, I would make the effort. Hollywood should be giving me offers. They're giving the wrong people offers. I will make the effort.
If you share my screen real quick, I've got the red carpet with her two co-stars. I mean, there's a big difference between her and her co-stars.
Yeah, no, Sarah Michelle Gellar, like, she could tell that she takes this seriously. Freddie Prinze Jr., he may seem like a douche in real life. That's what he always gives me vibes of. But yeah, these two guys understand, like, we have our roles. We got to do it. Now, I don't know. Sometimes maybe there's, you can say, well, there's medical things, there's this and that. But I don't think that's the case with Jennifer Love Hewitt. I feel like she just said, fuck it. Sorry,
not a lot of promotional shots with Hewitt in them here. I wonder why.
Yeah, I can understand it. And the ladies that they brought for this are like bargain basement crappy actresses. They make Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar look like, Meryl Streep. You know what I mean? These actresses they brought here, they're a combination of everything that's like not good. I don't know how to say this. They're not like the hottest women. Sorry, I know I'm a terrible person again, Professor, but I know they're young ladies or whatever, but still, you expect them to look like decent. You know what I mean? They don't look. They're very forgettable. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So you have that inside, like, and then there's two guys. Okay, so they're sort of like mirroring Ryan Phillippe and Freddie Prinze Jr. This guy in this picture is like the Freddie Prinze Jr. mirror one. The only problem is, first of all, it's the same actor that was the right wing podcaster in Doctor Who. I guess there he's British. Here he did an
Yeah, I
American
thought I
accent.
recognized him.
You know, probably out of all of these five people, he may not be the worst actor in the world, but man, does he need to get a different agent? Because I only see him doing the most like crappy roles on the face of the earth. And in this one, do people care if I do spoilers? Does anybody care if it's a spoiler or not? I tell me the truth, because I don't want to ruin it for people. People that actually want to watch it, tell me. But I could do spoilers. It's like it's kind of ridiculous. What did people write? Did they want spoilers or not?
Not seeing anyone who is hollering about
Adam
spoilers
Gray
just
says,
yet.
armchair dietitians, just because you want to lose weight doesn't mean you can. You know what? I don't know. Don't know what to tell you, Adam Gray. I think that, I don't know what, for millions of dollars, like, take Ozempic. I don't know what you do. Just do something. I don't feel like it was a situation where she had no choice. I'm getting the vibe that she just didn't feel like it. People are saying you can't spoil a turd. All right.
Soil away.
Soil away. Okay.
So Grace.
So basically, this couple here, you have this this lady and this other one. These are like the mirror Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt. And even Jennifer Love Hewitt, the non-diet one, at 50 or whatever she is, looks prettier than this. Looks better than this lady that they brought here. I mean, they couldn't have brought like a more underwhelming lead. I don't even know if she's supposed to be the lead. Like, with those other movies, it first of all centered around Jennifer Love Hewitt's character, and she was seemingly the lead of those movies. In this case, you don't even know who the lead is. There's just three annoying girls there with two boyfriends, and they try to recreate the same type of scene that happened in the first one. It's the 4th of July. They're driving on the road, but in their case, they sort of stop, and some guy sort of rides off the road and like falls off the cliff in his truck. Okay.
All right.
So then, like, a year goes by, and this lady on the right, she leaves wherever she's at. She's coming back to this town, okay? And she's coming back to this town to meet her boyfriend, who's this guy, who's still her boyfriend. She, on the second that she's on the plane, and I guess she's in the airport, she and another woman have sex in a bathroom. Are you with me?
Okay.
A quick something. I mean, it's not like, it doesn't show you that for an hour, but that's what it's kind of showing you. They don't know each other's names. They just decided to do that in a bathroom. And then, like, she arrives, and this guy on the left, he's there to pick her up from the airport. And this other lady she just had sex with in the bathroom, she joins her. And then they walk into the car, and, like, it's kind of like sticking it to him, like he thinks he's the boyfriend, but she's actually, like, with this other lady doing something naughty in the bathroom. And, like, you think already, okay, I get it. Suddenly the blonde lady in which she came and she had sex with in the bathroom tells him, hey, like, I normally don't like to have sex with men, but you're such a beta that maybe you could even join us, or something like that. I'm like thinking to myself, what is this movie? Like, this is like the
Oh my God.
This is like so awful, and it just random. It had nothing. If you removed that from the movie, it would have done nothing. Anyhow, it turns out that this blonde lady, she has like a podcast, and she like knows stuff about. She came to this town because back in the 90s there was these serial killings. Now that could have been an interesting idea to explore. It's explored in the most like pedestrian and stupid way, written by a woman who does not know how to write a screenplay. This Caitlin, or whatever her name is dumb, doesn't know how to write a screenplay, doesn't know how to direct a movie. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. So you had this weird lesbian action thing, which was dumb and stupid. The guy, obviously put in his place. And throughout the whole movie, there's this feeling that he's like just like some idiot and she's like the best. I don't know. They do it in a few other spots. It's just, they couldn't have made him more of a beta, but like the fact that another character also highlights and explains that he's a beta is just like too much. The other guy that was there, it turns out that he's like an alcoholic. There's some other thing. There's another guy. He's also an alcoholic. There isn't one man in this whole thing that looks like he's semi decent person. Not that I think that these ladies look great. They look like bitches too, I guess. But I think that the lady, this Caitlin that wrote it, didn't mean for them to look like bitches. I just think they look like bitches. In any case, at the end, what happens is like in the first one, they get a letter. I know what you did last summer, and suddenly there's all these like murders. This guy comes and he starts killing a lot of this person that seemingly like in the first one, the person that they seemingly killed, he goes and he wants to kill everybody. Are you with me?
Yes.
So this is bad in and of itself. This is like a bad carbon copy. The original isn't even good, but this is as like if you thought that the originals you didn't love them, if I force you to watch the original and then force you to watch this new one, you would be singing that original's praises. You would be telling me, you know what, Price, I was harsh on that original movie because this one is so crappy. It's like it's everything wrong with these type of remake, requels, sequels, soft reboots, whatever it is. It doesn't get anything right. It's just very, very poorly done. And then I'm just going to jump. Let's just say that throughout the movie, it kind of replicates what you saw in the first one. They do at some point decide that they need like help. So this lady on the right here, she goes to some other town, a neighboring town, finds Jennifer Love Hewitt, and she's like, "You got to help me." And Jennifer Love Hewitt gives like some bullshit advice. And the next thing you know, it turns out that Freddie Prinze Jr., his character, did I do this?
No, that's on mine.
Oh, how did you you were the one that did this?
Yeah, I'm sharing this.
Oh, okay, cool. So basically,
I was just jumping ahead to show some other characters.
oh, great, I understand. So in any case, this they go and visit Jennifer Love Hewitt, and she wants her to help her, but she doesn't want to help her, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Then Freddie Prinze Jr., it turns out that he's the boss of one of these girls that works for him. Okay, so he goes to the house of Jennifer Love Hewitt. It turns out they're divorced. Of course, they're divorced, and he's kind of like they're not so nice to each other.
Yeah,
and
he's sad and lonely, and he's
a bum, yeah, and all that stuff.
Unmanned, yes, of course.
And then he tells her like, why did you give those girls like instructions? Why did you tell them this? Why did you tell them that? You're absolutely wrong. You shouldn't do that. And then, they part ways, or I don't know what, he leaves. And then he goes and in the town where they're like having a meeting, he goes in and he's like, you got to take this whole thing seriously. There's also a real estate developer that's like over the years transformed this town from this kind of like, low class whatever into a fancy Hamptons type of place. And some people don't like it. And there's like a police chief that initially, when the people killed the guy in the beginning, the police chief, because the father and him are friends and the father is rich and powerful, they kind of swept it under the carpet. So Freddie Prinze Jr. initially, it seems like he's trying to fight the powers and let people know that this is a serious matter and they should be scared and things like that. Do you want to know what all the twists are at the end? Guys, I'm going to tell you the twists, and I feel fine about this because it's a terrible movie. Are you with me?
Yeah.
So the guy that's the murder, that's like the fisherman, like in the first one, that's the murder in this one, it turns out, and I think that you saw this coming from 70 miles away, that it's actually a woman. This woman is going and like killing everybody and doing the spree. Even worse, the woman is one of the three girls, meaning there's this girl, the blonde one, and this other one, which like looks like a dude, but she's a girl. That's not nice. I don't want to say that. I don't necessarily, I'm not saying she's a dude. I'm saying that if I had to choose women that look great to be in this movie, maybe I wouldn't have cast her there. Just that's my own opinion. It turns out that the lady that is not my preference, she is actually the murder. Meaning she was with him the whole time pretending that like that the killer is chasing them, but she's actually the killer. And I can't explain to you what a stupid, ridiculous fucking twist that is. Sorry, Sean. And then the next thing you know, it turns out that actually her accomplice, are you ready for this?
Okay.
Freddie Prinze Jr. was pretending to be the good guy from the first one, but actually he was upset that they turned the town into like a fancy town and they didn't take seriously the murders that he witnessed all those years ago. So he and this younger lady were together murdering people.
Uh-huh. So the white guy did it.
The white guy is the mastermind behind everything. And there's even a part at the end where, like, this lady, the one in the middle here, she kicks him in the balls, and Sarah and Jennifer Love Hewitt shows up, and between the both of them, if I'm not mistaken, I think that they kill him. So they kill him, and then he's dead. All the dudes are dead, and they look like weasels. The sheriff is corrupt. The police guy is corrupt. Like there isn't one guy in this whole movie that looks like half a decent person. Now, obviously, in these horror movies, even in the first one, you could say there was a lot of annoying or bad people. But I think that at least you had Freddie Prinze's character, like Freddie Prinze Jr., which was presented in a positive light. You didn't have any of that here. They're terrible actors, women that are not like in my opinion, look average. I mean, listen, it's fine. It's fine if you're an average person and you're going out with an average looking lady. But if you're going to bring women that are supposed to be glamorous for the big screen, I don't think that any of these three ladies are really, that kind of actresses. And say what you want about like Jennifer Love Hewitt in the 90s and like, Sarah Michelle Gellar. I would say even both of them today, even with the fact that she, I guess, eats a lot. Sorry, I don't know how to say that better. I would still say that Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt are more appealing women than these three miserable. Sorry, that's not nice. I'm an asshole. These three miserable. I don't know what to do, Professor. I'm a terrible person.
I mean,
can't stop it. I can't stop it.
I'm assuming they're all Zoomers, so they probably are quite miserable. That's generally the state of affairs.
I feel like a terrible
Gen
person.
Z women. So
I am a terrible person, Professor. But at the end of the day, these miserable young ladies. And I think that at the end, all three of the ladies survive. You know what I mean? Like, all three of the ladies survive. All the men are dead. And it's so stupid. The twist is built up so poorly. The screenplay is written. It's like it's not even rocket science. This is like a stupid by-the-book slasher movie. I feel like you and I now with like an old typewriter could probably like, make, hash this out over like a weekend. It really wasn't like a rocket science type of situation. This Caitlin lady that did Thor and Love and Thunder should never work again. I'm tired of people in Hollywood that don't know how to do shit, that keep getting millions to do this crappy, shitty crap. And then, as far as cameos go, out of the two movies, Sarah Michelle Gellar, for those that didn't watch the first one, she died in the first one. So basically, they found a way to incorporate her that there's some kind of like surreal dream where she's there. First of all, I want to tell you that as opposed to Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, when you see her on screen, I was genuinely impressed. Like, I'm like, wow, like Sarah Michelle Gellar really takes her look seriously. Like she really impressed me. More than any of those like, legacy, more than Freddie Prinze Jr., more than like, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Sarah Michelle Gellar pleasantly surprised me. She looked very, very decent. More than decent even. Like I was genuinely surprised. But her scene is something of like a surreal vision because her character is dead for like 3 minutes. Probably the best 3 minutes of the whole movie. And then at the end, there's something where like this whole thing ends, and it turns out that the young lady that looked like sort of a dude that Freddie Prinze Jr. was helping kill people, she managed to escape. How did she escape? Nobody even fucking knows. Sorry, Sean, it doesn't even matter. She's alive for some reason. That's what somebody says. And then Jennifer Love Hewitt arrives at the door of Brandy, who appeared in the second one, and she's like, "Oh, like I need your help. Look, like I've been getting letters like from a killer." And then like Brandy's like, "Well, we're gonna have to fuck somebody up or something like that." And the movie ends teasing that now in a second installment, like Brandy and Jennifer Love Hewitt are gonna have to team up and go like get this female fisherman. It is so bad. It is so bad. I there's nothing I can say to tell you that like how bad this is. It has to be one of the worst movies I've seen all year. It's like it was a movie that I think was like a rather easy tap in. Even if it wouldn't have been like a spectacular movie, the first one wasn't either. It just could have been a serviceable enough slasher movie that you do the minimum. And by the way, this Caitlin lady, she doesn't understand the horror side either. You know what I mean? Like her building tension and the way she does like the killings or whatever is also kind of lame. At some point I was just watching the movie, I was bored, You're not supposed to be bored, you're supposed to be like on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, this was never anything I was ever going to be interested in seeing. I thought the original was crap, and yeah, this newer one I knew, I mean, a remake of a crappy horror movie featuring a bunch of Gen Z actors and actresses never was going to interest me at all.
I agree. But what was I going to say to you?
Phantom Outsider was saying, first of all, I said that the white guy did it, and of course, yes, Freddie Prinze Jr. is partly Hispanic, so yes, I left that out. So the Hispanic guy did it. The Hispanic guy who passes for white did it.
I almost forgot that he's considered Hispanic. I
Yeah,
apologize. You know what?
no, that's okay. I did too. I
You know
I
what? It
forgot.
was still a smash the patriarchy situation.
Yes, yeah,
And to be honest,
and smash his balls.
and to smash his balls. You know, first of all, and I've said this before, sometimes the way the hierarchy works in movies these days, in these kind of woke movies, is that like diverse women are like at the top supposedly, then white women, then under them you have diverse men, and under them white men. But if there's women like there are in this movie, obviously Freddie Prinze Jr. is still under those. Do you get what I mean?
Oh, of course, yes,
Using this equation, it's obvious that he's the one that they're going to kick in the balls and he'll be
yeah.
the bad guy. The thing is, honestly, if I were him, I wouldn't even taken it. I would have just gotten annoyed. I mean, I don't know how much like what he makes from what, and maybe it was a good opportunity for him. Maybe he's just like fuck it. I'll take sorry, Sean. I'll take the millions and I'll just do it. Maybe I can't blame him. And he's like, you could say, well, what legacy? These were dumb movies from the '90s. I guess I understand, but you know what? I don't know. They should have been able to do something better than this.
Yeah, you'd hope so, but quality is not exactly the most important thing in Hollywood anymore.
Geller has aged better than Freddie Prinze Jr. I have to tell you. Out of the three of them, out of the four of them, including like Brandy, I think that probably if I had to do like a chart of who's aged the best, number one Sarah Michelle Gellar really surprised me. Number two probably Brandy. Number three, I guess Freddie Prinze Jr. and number four Jennifer Love Hewitt. That's probably the hierarchy of like how they've aged. CB Vance said he's not actively acting at this time. It's like you know what? I would be happy if this thing fails and never gets a sequel because I just don't like rewarding bad behavior. I don't even care. Like, I know it's not the most important franchise, but I'm sick and tired of this all the time. First of all, I'm tired that they can't think of a new idea. Just think of something. Do some stupid slasher movie. Do anything. Just think of something. And again, once they can't think of something, they bring the same fucking losers. Sorry, Sean. This lady. How, after Thor and Love and Thunder, how does she get rewarded with her own movie
Oh,
that she
yeah.
writes and directs? Like, what world do we live in that they're like, listen, you wrote you wrote Thor: Love and Thunder. We want to reward you. Now we want to give you this other movie, and not only you'll write it, you also direct it. I mean, somebody actually sat and did that. That was like a decision that somebody made. They're stupid. I could make a better movie than this lady. This lady, it's a disgrace. It's a disgrace to Hollywood that this woman wrote and made this movie. It's a terrible, terrible movie. I'm trying to think how much I would give it if I had to give it a score. Not even 38. 38 is generous. Probably would give it like, probably because of the cameos with like Brandy at the end of the movie and with Sarah Michelle Gellar, which I thought that those probably were amongst the better scenes. I would have given that like a few points, but I don't know, maybe like a 10 out of 100. Is that a fair score, Professor? The professor is so stunned that he left and he's not coming back. Oh, sorry, he's back.
Well,
So,
I missed your score. What was your score, Brian?
I was going to say that I like the after credit thing with Brandy, and I like the scene with Sarah Michelle Gellar, and for that, I would give maybe 10 points out of 100. Do you think that's a fair
10,
score?
10 out of 100. Okay. Yeah, sure.
I don't want to reward this. You know what I mean? Like, this deserves to not get rewarded. I'm giving 10 so that people won't say that I'm petty.
Yeah, that's gonna do it. That's good. Yeah. 10 points. You don't want to be like sort of nasty about the film, right? You gotta
I
give it a
wouldn't want to.
little
Yeah,
something.
I wouldn't want to come off as petty, as I said. But in any
Uh,
case, I think
we
it's a disgrace.
we had Angelo DD over on Rumble says, first time here. You explain movies like a buddy of mine, raw, uncut, and accurate.
Well, I hope you're following us. Then you should totally follow us if you haven't already. And
He has
and
many reviews. He makes so many videos.
I do, and also to the ladies here that may be listening, I do apologize. It's not fair. It's like if I just knew this lady, like this was just a lady I knew, I wouldn't think anything. You know what I'm saying? But ladies I know, again, don't get paid millions to be in a movie. It's like this is her job. Now some people say, well, you don't know. Sometimes you can't lose weight. Okay, I guess. I mean, she lost it all those years. She's always been skinny, so I don't know, but maybe she has a problem, and maybe I'm just being an asshole. And if I am, I genuinely apologize. That's all I can say. Thank you, Angelo DD, who clicked like and follow. I appreciate that. And yeah, that's Jennifer Love Hewitt, ain't it? I mean, she's still a pleasant looking woman. It's just that, like, you understand what I'm trying to say, Professor.
Yes. Well, I appreciate getting your feedback. Having gone to see, I Know What You Did the summer before last. That time that you did the thing. Remember that time? It was that last summer. I Know What You Did. I appreciate getting your feedback on that film. So.
Yiddish is saying nighty night. Is because I said that she was looked kind of plump? I hope not.
Oh no, I think Yidis just is just done for the evening, and take care, Yidis. It's good to have you here tonight.
It is nice to have you here. In any
we
case,
did get a super chat over on YouTube.
Oh, nice. So it's the Karate Werewolf. Love that name. Let me see if I can find. Can we see it? Karate Werewolf, Canadian $2. Try to name 5 good female directors. Oof, you're really putting me on the spot here, Karate Werewolf. Some people like Greta Gerwig. I have yet to see a movie of hers that I like, but I think that there's some movies that some, at least ladies, have liked. Then you have Sofia Coppola.
Yeah.
Again, not really my cup of tea when it comes to her movies, but I assume that somebody likes her movies.
You got to give a shout to Catherine Bigelow.
I was just about to say that. And Catherine Bigelow, I believe that I've seen movies that she made that were actually...
Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, Point Break.
Point Break, is that like the original Point Break or the...
I think that might be the remake.
If it's the remake, I'm out. If it's the I can't give her Point Break if it's the remake, but if it's the one with Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves, that I would give her props if it was her. But I will say that Zero Dark 30 and the other one, The Hurt Locker, those are legitimate movies. So you know what? I am going to agree with you. Catherine Bigelow, probably the best out of the 3 that we just said. The other ones, they're there. They're sort of competent. I'm trying to think what other 2 directors, female directors.
No, she was the director of the original. The original Point Break. Yeah.
You know what? Catherine Bigelow,
solid movie.
Catherine Bigelow is the number 1 on the list now. If she did the original one, have nothing to say.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I believe she's the is Catherine Bigelow the only Oscar-winning female director?
You know what? I now that all those Oscars don't really matter to me. Point Break, you now it's like that meme. First you had my interest, and now you piqued my curiosity, or whatever, with like Leonardo DiCaprio from that Tarantino movie. But yeah, I think that Catherine Bigelow, Point Break, that I like that movie, so that's good. So we have three. Give me names. I don't even remember two other.
Oh,
Unfortunately, I don't
geez.
remember two other.
Yeah. You said Greta Gerwig. I was thinking that. There's what's her
Let's Google
name?
top female directors.
Chloe Zhao was another. She's
Chloe
done a
Zhao,
few
like
things.
I wouldn't even like let
No
her direct my
interest
lemonade
whatsoever
stand. Yeah,
with after Eternals. Like, no, thank you. Um,
there's like
Patty
Charmine.
Patty Jenkins? Did you mention Patty Jenkins?
You know what? Patty Jenkins is okay.
Yeah.
I think that the problem with Patty Jenkins is that she's capable of directing a movie. Only someone for some reason told her that she needed to start writing them, and that is probably the problem. Because I actually I don't think it's too bad if she if you give her something to direct and she doesn't write. I think that's fair enough. So Patty Jenkins is fine. I can work with that. Is there anything else I'm trying to find?
I'm trying to think of other female directors. Ava DuVernay.
You know
Not
what?
one that
Amy Heckerling.
Amy Heckerling. Not familiar. That name does
She
not.
directed National Lampoon's European Vacation, Look Who's Talking,
Okay.
Clueless, A Night at the Roxbury. Not all of these are good, but you know what?
Yeah. He says after saying Night at the Roxbury.
Not all of these are good. You know what?
No.
But it's a working director. You know what I mean? I could at least see. She directed Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Johnny Dangerously. Listen, it may be hit and miss.
Johnny Dangerously. Yeah, it's hit and miss, but
hit
yeah.
and miss. But she has a few things on her record that are actually decent. I can't take that away from her. I actually I believe that I've met her before. I'm 99% sure of this. That I was like at a screening of some movie and she was there, and I think that I didn't recognize her, but she kind of looked very quirky. Like everybody comes very kind of glamorous or whatever. She looked very kind of low key and quirky and odd. But you know what? I don't know why. I think maybe she was talking to me, or maybe I was talking to her. I don't know why we were talking to each other. Maybe waiting on some line, or we were next to some entrance. I don't know why we talked. She seemed like a complete quirky person, but I have to say that at that moment in time, I didn't dislike her. She seemed nice enough, for whatever that's worth.
Sure.
I guess what I'm saying is, a lot of times when I would go to these events, that nobody knows why I was there, and I don't know why I was there either, there would be a lot of like this kind of condescending, pompous vibe all across the board. The way you would imagine Hollywood type of pompous vibe, that's exactly what you'd get at these events. So sometimes when you saw somebody that kind of didn't give that vibe and seemed like more down to earth, you could kind of appreciate it. And this lady, who I think maybe somebody had to tell me who she was.
Yeah.
She seemed like a down to earth person, for whatever that's worth.
And or on YouTube, Num says the number one female director is Leni Riefenstahl.
Oh no, she's like the
Do you have
worst
something
director.
do you have something you need to tell us?
That she's like the worst director ever.
Oh god.
I mean, again, it bothers me to say this, but technically, when it comes to, she was asked to make propaganda movies, and unfortunately, she was very good at that.
She was decidedly good at it. Yes.
Yes, I mean, if you're just saying like technically, was she good at making propaganda movies? She absolutely was. Were those despicable movies that did like a ton of damage and just terrible that she was involved and did that? Absolutely. And even more terrible is that when the war ended, she just got to walk away and go like travel the world, and a lot of places everybody was like, "Oh, she's so great," and I'm like, "Wait a second, like was she?" You know what I mean? Like she really, like, there were no repercussions for anything that she did, even though she created some of the most like dangerous propaganda movies ever.
Hmm.
Uh, it's not a subject. I mean, I don't want to necessarily dwell on it too much. Some people are like, well, what choice did she have? But this lady, as far as I know, and I'll just say it quickly, uh, it's not a situation that it was so much her choice or not choice. She was in the clique. Do you get what I'm saying?
Oh
She
yeah.
she was you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course, after the war, she was sort of one of the biggest voices for the whole. Well, we didn't know anything about concentration camps.
Right. I mean,
She was one of those. And it's like, no, you were, you were in the inner circle there, sweet pea.
right. She was in the inner
You
circle,
knew
and
all
nobody.
about it.
Basically, she was one of those people that the second the war was over, she switched narrative to "what a victim I am," and she went then did that her whole life, and nothing. There were no repercussions. She took the victim narrative, and everybody just was quiet and let her be the victim. And I don't know. Don't have anything positive to say about her. What can I say? But yeah, Catherine
Mhm.
Bigelow, I'd say, is good, and maybe in second spot, I'd give Amy Heckerling. At least she had a few movies that I like. Sofia Coppola is, in my opinion, very overrated. If I had to say something, maybe Lost in Translation was a watchable movie,
Yeah,
but
it was a decent film. It's not my favorite, but yeah,
it had she was lucky. You know why Lost in Translation was somewhat okay was because
Bill
they
Murray.
had Bill Murray, which,
Yeah.
like, Bill Murray is the type of actor that if you have like a flimsy screenplay and you just don't exactly know what you're doing, he brings something to the table. He can make something more than it is. And I feel like Bill Murray, absolutely, that's one of those cases where he just brings himself and improves the movie. And that's what happens there. The other thing is that everybody's like, oh, but the cinematography, this and that, and this and that. Basically, Francis Ford Coppola took all of his like longtime people, his team, and just said, hey guys, this is my daughter. She's making a movie. Do you want to be like her DP and her this and her that and her
Yeah, yeah.
second unit director, all of this? Can you do all these jobs? And they're like, sure, Francis, here we go. And then like they went and they did like Lost in Translation, where she's having like the people that like did like The Godfather do her movie. It's again. I'm not saying that she can't do anything or she has no competency to do anything. I'm just saying, man, what a kind of easy, kind of soft landing into the industry to be able to pull those kind of strings. So that movie that kind of made it seem like she's such a great director, I would argue that between Bill Murray and like her father's team, she really lucked out there. Now, do I think she's a complete like bozo? No, she could probably do something, but I kind of think she's overrated. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, yeah. I enjoyed the film, for what was there, and yeah, there was some solid cinematography and stuff there, but you're right. It's not like it was all her, right? She had this really solid crew around her helping make this film, and then she had Bill Murray, who just brings the whole movie home. I mean, without Bill Murray, that movie doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he was definitely the key ingredient. He was definitely the key ingredient to that
Yeah,
movie's
yeah.
success.
He's sympathetic. He's kind of heartbreaking, and Price is left because she doesn't want to talk about this
Um,
anymore. Oh, there he is. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so now that we've talked about this, I don't know how we went all over the place. Let's talk about Supergirl.
Supergirl.
So
Yay,
I don't know if you
Supergirl.
saw this, but James Gunn, I guess he released this photo
Okay.
of like Supergirl. And I claim that this is just some kind of like distraction. There's such a kind of weird media narrative, combating media narratives right now. I understand that there's people that generally liked James Gunn's Superman movie, but I don't think it's a slam dunk that everybody's saying. First of all, the international box office has not been good. Unless
Nope.
like there's a miracle turnaround in the international markets, even if like this does an exceptional domestic, even if let's say for some reason this has legs beyond anything anybody could have imagined, I still don't see how this movie gets to like $1 billion. And
No.
Warner, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's saying like the kind of thing that I keep hearing is, well, if they get to 700 million, they can consider it a win. And I'm like, why could they consider it a win? If they make it to 700 million, they invested a minimum. I'm saying this is a modest estimate. This is the Hollywood Reporter saying that they invested $400 million if you combine marketing and production. Now, if the Hollywood Reporter says 400 million, the rule of thumb is at some point I wouldn't be surprised if later we find out that it was significantly more than this. Okay, but let's just say that I'm going to go with their $400 million, and I'm not going to add the probably additional 100 or 150 that nobody's talking about. Let's just say it's 400 million. 400 million. You know, if you need to do times 2.5, correct?
Pretty close, yeah. Because they used to say another 25 percent or whatever for marketing. Yeah, it's got to be higher than that because the marketing is just more expensive now, and the marketing for this film was huge. Also, terrible. The marketing for Superman was awful, but there was a lot of it. So they spent a lot of money on marketing. I'm sure this is a huge marketing spend.
One Dirty Bird says, "I like it when you guys wander all over." Thank you. That's our specialty here at the Night Owl.
We
And
find our way back.
so basically, you need to make about $1 billion to cover the 400 million. If you made 700 million, you're not covering that amount. And I think it's even higher than people say. Now, some people may say, well, there's always like sponsors and, sponsorship partners, and there's merch and toys and things like that. But the truth is that Man of Steel had that as well, had all those things. And at the end of the day, this movie doesn't seem to be able to outperform that one. I don't even know if it's going to outperform it before we even talk about like adjusting for inflation. It's like, and you can say, well, less people see movies, less of this. It just sounds like a bunch of excuses to me. At the end of the day, the way I see it, David Zaslav brought James Gunn aboard because he was expecting that this type of movie would make him $1 billion. That's probably what he said to people when he hired him. That's what he wanted. And now, he's going to the press and he's saying, yeah, I believe in James Gunn and all that. But what else is he going to say? He's saving face. He also doesn't want to give the impression that this is a flop, because the more maybe you speak about it positively, the more it kind of influences maybe a positive word of mouth. Now's not the time to say, like, I don't like James Gunn. It's kind of like, I don't know if you like sports, but I don't know if you've ever seen like a sports team where there's a coach and there's like a lot of losses, and then the owner of the team comes along and he says, like, I just want to, make it clear to everybody, I fully support the coach. I believe in him. That usually means that very soon, if this coach doesn't start winning a bunch of games, he's fired. Do you get what I'm trying to say? When the owner comes out and starts saying like all this crap, you know that guy's in trouble. And that's the way I saw it with James Gunn. I feel like behind closed doors, David Zaslav, in my opinion, is not happy at all.
Mm-hmm.
And in any case, they try to make it like in this picture that she's like, there's a blonde, she's there's a little revealing there with the skirt, like a little bit sexy kind of, even though she's drinking and she seems like she's drunk again or whatever it is. But trying to go for like guys like, oh, you like naughty women? You like crazy naughty women? That's what Supergirl is, Also trying to reframe the narrative that people saw the way she was in that movie and didn't like her. So this kind of like changes the narrative. It's actually a rather clever marketing ploy, but at the same time, like, I think this movie has issues, and I think she's one of the issues within that movie. I don't generally hate the actress or anything. I think maybe she could be decent casting. It's just that, they had such a poor introduction of her character in that movie.
Yeah. Oh no, it was awful. That was one of my notes coming out of the theater was, wow, just don't want to see that movie. Like, I have no interest whatsoever after she stumbles in and calling Superman a bitch and no, no interest at all. Like, I don't want to see that. I was looking at some of the chat here. There were some people asking, uh, talking about, well, let's see if the interest drops in the next weekend. That's definitely where we're at. We have to see where the interest drops for the next weekend on Superman. Yeah, this one, Bishop Judas saying Melissa, is it Benoist? I don't know how to pronounce her
Yeah, I
name.
think that's how you pronounce it, Melissa Benoist.
Yes, she was a very attractive Supergirl. I'm not sure if it beats out Helen
Helen
Slater,
Slater.
though. I don't know.
Helen Slater. Helen
It's
Slater is the
close.
prettiest one.
They're both very good looking in the outfit. But yeah, I think I would have to give it to Helen Slater too. But just by a nose, right? Just a little bit over the top. She did look
well,
very good in that.
you heard
Supergirl.
it here first. Professor R2 would have to give it to Helen Slater.
I would.
That's what you said. I'm just quoting what you
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
That
Is
that's
there a problem with that?
there's no problem. I was just quoting what you said. In any case, I wonder if people are going to be calling her a bitch in her movie. Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
They're just-
This Bishop Judas also said, "I can just see Supergirl being a 304 in the movie. I hope I'm wrong." Oh, jeez. You know what that means, Bryce?
what is it?
Slang 304.
What does that mean?
Sex worker.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
So this is something that I posted in 2020, and from time to time, this is the weirdest thing. Once in a blue moon, somebody suddenly likes this tweet that I posted like 5 years ago. Like a few times a year, I'll look and somebody liked it. I don't, maybe they're searching for something and they happen to run into it. So let me share it with you. So my tweet was, "Fun fact: Helen Slater was the best Supergirl." And I put this video. I think she was pretty.
She can make the flowers bloom. Yeah, I mean, let's be fair. The movie was garbage.
You know what?
But she looked good in it.
I saw it as a kid, and I could probably tell that it wasn't the best movie, but as a kid, I didn't hate it because I really liked the Superman movies, and this was like Supergirl, and she was his cousin. So I don't know. It had a lot of fan goodwill for me. This movie.
Oh, the plot is bonkers with like the magic and everything. It was weird. So
But
weird.
look, like during those days, like quote unquote beauty standards were different. But I would
Mm.
argue that by any standard, she is pretty nice looking lady.
Yeah.
I think she was good casting. I don't know if I've seen better casting than this for Supergirl. Melissa Benoist, the problem that I have with her is initially at least initially I think she looked pretty good, but then she told the producers that she wanted them to cover her up, and she started wearing like weird clothes. Do you remember that?
No.
Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah. I do remember she wore hose underneath the skirt, which always looked a little weird to me, but just outfit wise. But yeah, I was never a big fan of any of the CW shows. I only saw just a bit here and there. I was not a regular follower of any of the stuff on the CW.
I'm trying to see if I can find this thing. No, I'm not saying that I loved it, but what happened is that I'm sure I tweeted about this at some point, but I can't seem to find it. Basically, Melissa Benoist, whatever her name was, had a more kind of like she's wearing a skirt, kind of like what Helen Slater was wearing. And then she said something to the producers, and it was after like the kind of Me Too era or whatever it is. So she decided that she doesn't want
Oh
to.
yes, I remember. Yeah, I do remember seeing that newer costume where it's like, yeah, she's covered from like head to toe. I mean,
She looked like she went from looking like a cute young lady to like or whatever in her 20s to like 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 a miserable aunt. You know what I'm saying?
here I can. So there was the original costume. There's her original costume, and then here was the costume later. Yeah.
I would argue that there was at some point something that I saw that she looked even worse than this. This was even better
Really?
than later. Like it was like a case where every time like there was something that they renewed, it was worse than it was before. But when she started the
There's
show, I thought she was cute. It's just like they really, I don't know. It's really annoying. I mean, honestly, the show also went off a cliff. I think maybe the first season when it was on CBS, the movie was like somewhat
She looks
uh
real happy there.
I think that the first season was like somewhat watchable, but then once I don't know what they did, it became like, kind of hot garbage. They CW'd it. The second they transferred it to the CW like dominated the creative side of that show.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then Zelda casting. Did you see that?
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah.
I saw some people were upset because they didn't take that.
Oh, there's the only people who are upset are a bunch of troons.
That
Please.
person didn't.
I don't care.
That person did not look like Zelda. I don't
You get
know.
Brianna Wu. Like, please. Who listens to Brianna Wu anymore? What a joke. Yeah. Oh, we're so upset that they didn't hire this man to play Zelda in the Legend of Zelda movie just because there's a few glamour shots where they kind of look like Zelda. Like, shut up. Do you really think Nintendo, first of all, the nightly news in Japan, that they'll have bits that they'll do on the nightly news making fun of American wokeness and BS. Like
I'm sure.
they don't do this stuff. They're not down with this stuff. And we're talking about an incredibly important property for Nintendo. They are not going to torpedo their movie by hiring a trans actor to play Zelda. They're not going to do that. It was never an option. All of these people out there trying to push this narrative. Oh, look, the perfect person to play Zelda with all this stuff. No, there were only the smallest number of people who were actually ever even saying that this was going to be a good idea. And it was never Nintendo never said they were going to hire them. It's ridiculous. And so, yeah, we did get, let's see, let's pull up the story here. This one has a USA Today story, but that's fine. We got the casting. The two lead roles for the cast for the upcoming live film, The Legend of Zelda, were announced. The role of Link is going to be played by Benjamin Evan Ainsworth, while Zelda will be played by Bo Bragson. So we'll see how the actual film turns out. I would assume that Link will be the main character, although you never know in Hollywood today. We have there's our two leads, right? I think this is actually kind of an older picture of Ainsworth. Might be a slightly newer picture out there somewhere, but yeah, there's the two leads. I think that's fine. If that's who they think is going to be their best options, I'm sure they tested a lot of people for these roles. So if they found their actor, their actress for this role, great. That I hope that they can start work on this soon, and they can make a really good film. I still personally, I do not understand why they decided to make this live action. But all right, let's. I hope it's really good. I am a fan of Zelda. My son is a huge fan of the Legend of Zelda of the games and just the whole property. So he's extremely excited about getting a Legend of Zelda film, uh, and I do hope it's good. I hope Nintendo is able to make something really enjoyable out of this. So
Well, I hope so too, because Zelda is actually games that I do care about. So this would be a movie that I'd be very excited to see and hope that they do it well. I'm
oh,
happy that they chose. People were celebrating online today, and it was funny. Tom Holland was trending because everybody was celebrating that they didn't cast Tom Holland in the movie.
yes, they
That
didn't
was
cast
funny.
Tom
That
Holland.
was genuinely a funny moment on Twitter that like everybody put aside like politics and weird crap and everybody was happy that Tom Holland wasn't cast because it seems like every role that they need somebody that's like a younger guy, even though he's probably like 50 at this point, they cast Tom Holland.
Yep. And there's some slightly different pictures of the two there to for their roles. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see Link talking. I would assume he's going to talk in the film at some point because he's never talked before. His only lines are "huh" and like that's his only lines.
Man, I hope that they use like the good music that are in some of these games,
Oh
especially
sure.
like, some of the classic things in the original. I hope they're bringing music from the original Legend of Zelda, like the
Oh, they've
first game.
yeah. Well, they've got to have some of the sort of the classic, just the sounds and the musical cues. Yes, they, they've got to have that in there. If they open the movie with that theme price, people in the theater will be on their feet, losing their minds.
I will be there. I
They
will be there.
if
I'm
they
gonna be there
open
on
the
my feet
movie that
losing my
way,
mind.
they won't have to do anything else
I
to get
mean,
people hyped. If they open the movie with that, people will be on their feet.
I
And
will
then
be super excited.
people there will be Minecraft level memes, people going to like if they play the little like sounds like when you open up a chest or whatever, like people are gonna lose their minds
Also,
over
like,
this.
the dungeons in the first game, I still like that, like, doo 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 doo, like
Oh
that
yeah.
thing. If they bring, like, a symphony and actually do that when he's, like, in a dungeon and they play that music, that is, like that itself will already, like, make people excited. They just man, this is a movie that I really hope that they don't mess up. I really, really hope. Zelda, there's such, now I sound like Ironheart, like, iconic games. I love those games. I don't want them to ruin Zelda. I really hope they don't mess it up.
Yeah.
But no
They
Tom Holland and no Hunter Schafer is a step in the right direction.
Oh yeah. No Hunter Schafer, definitely. I mean, this seriously. Did they ever really think that Nintendo was going to torpedo their film by not hiring a female to play Zelda? It just it's mind-blowing that they ever thought that was going to happen and that now they're just like freaking out all over the place. Oh, I can't believe what transphobes they are because whatever. It's like no, they- they're not transphobes. They want to make money. They want
Yeah.
their movie to not be a failure before it even comes out.
Right. And then the thing is that like Nintendo Japan, I think that they have a more conservative vibe. I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
that they're not like keen on like overly woke like nonsense. They don't love that. Maybe they do some concessions with like the local American, culture, but I think that over in the offices where there's some like older Japanese men sitting in some office,
yep.
I don't think they want to watch like extremely woke Zelda movie. I would hope. Maybe I'm wrong, but I really hope that they don't.
No, I don't think they're at all interested in that. But some people are saying who's the director? The director is Wes Ball. Not super well known director, but Wes Ball was the director for the entire series of The Maze Runner, which was a fairly popular, teen, action thing. It wasn't one of the biggest ones, but it was fairly popular. And also directed the most recent Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes film. So he's got experience. He's not a huge, he's
Yeah, but Kingdom had some issues. I mean, it looked
yeah,
all
it
right, I
did.
guess.
I mean, it definitely
Who's
did.
writing the screenplay, I guess? Maybe if he gave somebody else gave him a screenplay.
Let's
Is he
see. The
also
writers are going to be Derek Connolly and T.S. Nolan.
what
Let's
else
see.
did they write?
Derek Connolly, known for Safety Not Guaranteed, Jurassic World Dominion, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World.
Okay, we're fucked.
Yeah, that's not good.
Sorry,
Let's see.
Sean.
T.S. Nolan, writer for The Maze Runner, The Atom Project, Pacific Rim, Uprising.
I don't know, man. I don't know. There's no more normal writers. They're gonna fuck this up. This is not. I am not happy. I was happy until you started talking about
Yeah, well, then it's also, isn't it being produced by Avi Arad?
Ugh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, at least he was a producer on the first Spider-Man trilogy. I know he's considered an annoying whatever he is, but
Yeah, let's look at his recent record though, man. What has Avi Arad made recently?
probably crap. I don't know what he's even done recently.
The Venom movies.
You know what?
Borderlands.
Okay, Borderlands was an embarrassment, but you know what? The Venom movies, I wouldn't say they were good, but they had a minimum amount of fun that I've seen worse movies than those Venom movies, even though they're not upper tier. They were somewhat serviceable enough dumb fun. Those Venom movies, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I didn't walk out of the theater saying I hate this, I hate it. I just walked out and thought, well, that was kind of silly. But I didn't watching it. Maybe it's also because of Tom Hardy, who is sort of interesting in that role. I can't say that I flat out hated those movies, even though I acknowledge that they're not great movies. Sometimes that happens where something's not great, but you still kind of don't hate it.
Yeah.
You're
yeah, as someone mentioned,
right.
yeah, he did the Spider-Verse movies. He was a producer on the Spider-Verse movies. I'm just saying, as a producer, his recent record isn't fantastic. Especially, I
Oh,
mean,
I'm sure.
if you want to look at Japanese property that he did, the live action Ghost in the Shell, which was just awful film.
Yeah, I understand. Oh, the live action Ghost in the Shell was terrible. I vaguely recall that was with Scarlett Johansson or something.
It wasn't ScarJo.
Why did I think she was in it? I got this wrong?
It was
You know what? I don't even think I've seen the live action Ghost in the Shell. I only saw the
yeah,
animated one.
it was ScarJo. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
maybe I
Scarlett
did see it.
Johansson. I was thinking it was someone else, but yeah, no, yeah, it was Scarlett Johansson. Yeah.
I thought to myself, maybe it was a bad dream, but now you're saying bad dream was real.
Scarlett Johansson playing a Japanese cyborg woman. Yes. Interesting choice. Yeah. And
she collected a check there. Today they probably wouldn't even cast her. They'd say it was offensive, and she'd apologize for being offensive, and they'd all apologize to each other.
Well, I mean, this was 2017. It should already have been offensive, right?
No, that was still before. I think that after 2020, things became a lot more offensive.
Yeah, you're right. 2020 was really when things blew up. And then they had, they did her nude scenes, but in the nude scenes, her body is completely featureless because, well, she's a cyborg, so unlike in the anime where her body's not completely featureless because she is still a woman. She's just a woman with a cyborg enhanced body.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh well.
It was a mess. I've forgotten most of it because they just tried to remake the anime as a live action, and it worked very poorly.
By the way, once again, if you're watching this stream and on Rumble you haven't yet signed up and followed us, you should do it. And if you're on YouTube, you should subscribe and do a like and drop comments and do all that good stuff. We don't ask for much, but all that stuff really does help. So if you're thinking to yourself, hey, I want to do something nice for these guys, then you should like and subscribe and follow, because that's always good for us. Both on Rumble and on YouTube. Rumble, you should sign up if you're watching through the app. All that good stuff. There was something else. What was on our topic list?
I think we covered it all.
Oh, okay. There was. Did you see the Tron trailer?
Oh no, I didn't.
There was a trail for
new
Tron
trailer.
Ares,
Oh,
or whatever
okay.
it's called. And
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't really care for the last one, so
I actually liked the last one. See, once in a while we don't agree with each other, but we're still friends.
honestly, I mean, I would watch it again. Sometimes you'll watch like a movie and like maybe you're just like in a bad mood or something. You know what I mean? Like, and it just doesn't land for you. Like I've heard a lot of people talk about the how they really enjoyed that new Tron film. I like the original film with all of its flaws, and oh boy, does it have a lot of them. But Tron Legacy, I just didn't land for me. So, I mean, I would definitely give it another shot. But this one with Jared Leto as the lead, like, oh man, I don't know. And it's like about Tron, like they come into the real world now, because I remember seeing the teaser.
Yeah, I think that what happens is that they already teased it in the Tron Legacy one that they're coming into the world, and you
Yeah.
had Gareth Hedlund and you had Olivia Wilde, and you know what? I liked that movie. I'm not saying it was a perfect movie, but I thought that it was an interesting movie to continue the story, and I was really curious where the next chapter would take us. The idea of Gareth Hedlund now in the real world, he had all the kind of DNA or whatever it was on him, and she's like the one that's bringing it to Earth. And I thought it was very interesting. It ended in a really interesting way, and I wanted to see what they do with it. Instead, they waited 70 million years, and finally, when they did it, they're like sort of pretending that movie didn't happen. That's the part that annoys me. I like that that they're bringing back Jeff Bridges for something, but I don't like that they're ignoring seemingly the events of the second one of like Tron Legacy. And yeah, I don't know. I was in the right mood for it. I saw Tron Legacy without many expectations years ago, and I actually enjoyed it. And then since then, I watched it a number of times. It's one of those movies. It creates an atmosphere between like the
Sure.
music, the music that I think is pretty cool for that movie, the visuals. At the time, people weren't really trying hard to do that kind of de-aging. It was one of the early examples. Of course, if you look at it today, it's kind of laughable. Even at the time, some people criticized it, but I appreciate the efforts. A lot of things were tried there, and it had something. I don't know. I have some appreciation for the movie, even though I agree with you that it's flawed, but I somewhat like it. But now, instead of that, Gareth Hedlund and Olivia Wilde, you have Jared Leto, like you said. Let's look at the trailer. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Since time began, man has gazed at the stars and he has wondered, am I alone? So much talk of AI and big tech today. Virtual worlds, what are they going to look like? When will we get there? Well, folks, we're not going there. They are coming here. I would like you to meet Ares, the ultimate soldier. He's biblically strong, lightning fast, supremely intelligent. And if he is struck down on the battlefield, I will simply make you another.
You think you're in control of this? You're not. What are you?
I'm looking for something. Something I do not understand. Hang on!
A malfunctioning program who wants to live. Why is that?
It's just a feeling.
Fascinating.
I mean, it looks like a pretty cool trailer. I won't lie to you, but I don't know. The Jared Leto thing is like a red flag,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all I can say is that the trailer looks better than I thought it would, but I still have a sneaky suspicion that the movie itself is going to annoy me. And I really would have liked this kind of production and vibe just to continue the story, which actually led to this in the previous chapter, and continue with the characters that you introduced. But that's just, I don't know why it took them so many years to continue this, and it's just annoying. But I'll probably go see it hoping for the best, but I have a feeling that my expectations are going to be not going to be met here.
Yeah, I mean it is a Disney movie in the year 2025, so
Yeah, there's only so much we can expect from this whole situation. I did read when One Dirty Bird said that he likes it when we're all over the place,
yes,
which we
yes.
absolutely are. And then Urkel De Stefano says, I like Jared Leto. You know, he's sort of like okay in sort of character actor smaller roles. Usually when I see too much of him, he can be kind of annoying, but who knows? Maybe this will be the movie where it's not as bad. I'll watch it on a boat. That's a strange thing to say.
A boat on the way to India, maybe.
I see what you're saying. Yes. I hear that it's going to be special screening in India.
Mm-hmm.
So
Happens.
many people go to India to watch movies, from what I've been told.
Yeah. Or they watch them on boats, whatever. Yeah.
You could watch them on boats. Yes. You like to watch them with Johnny Depp. In any case, so that was that, and there was another trailer. What was the other trailer today? There was one more. Oh, okay. Did you see Mortal Kombat 2?
Oh no.
There's a Mortal Kombat 2. Are you ready?
Mortal Kombat 2 trailer. All right. All right.
Okay. So let's do it. Start share screen Mortal Kombat. And then
Ooh, Red Band trailer.
I mean, it looks ridiculous, but you know what? It looks better. It looks better than the first one.
It looks absolutely absurd, which I'll be honest, it's probably to its favor. I think if they can make this movie entertaining and completely bonkers, it could work. It
Elizabeth Quince
really
is
could
back.
work.
Elizabeth Quince saying, "Isn't that guy too old to be an action hero?" Asking seriously.
Carl Urban will never be too old to be an action hero.
Yeah, I could say. I think that he does. It's fine. It doesn't bother me that he's in it. There's one final thing that we can watch that I don't know if you saw. Stranger Things had like a trailer. Did you see it?
Oh, there's a new trailer for Stranger Things. No, I haven't seen that either. It's been
I
a busy
think
day
so.
for me. I haven't spent a lot of time looking at teasers and stuff on the internet.
Okay, let me see if I can find Stranger Things.
That the Colbert story was about the only thing that really broke through today while I was busy doing stuff.
I understand. No, it's good. It's good we're doing a little bit of
Yeah.
trailers.
Burn commencing in 5, 4, 3.
Come on.
2. And
After what we've been through, this thing holds us together forever.
Wherever this blood leads. I need you to fight one last time. Let's end this, kid. Found you.
All right. The finale on New Year's Eve. Okay.
One of the biggest problems, and I think everybody's been sort of laughing at this, it's been so many years. These kids are no longer kids.
Oh yeah, they're all in their 20s.
It took them so many years to tell this story, and man, did they take their sweet time. Sometimes it's too much. You know what I mean? I feel like this story started maybe 10 years ago, and yet somehow, this is the 5th season, so I guess on average, every 2 years you get a season. It's really tough with kids,
Yeah.
She said, glad to see President of European Commission Ursula von der Leyen landed a role. Good for her. I don't quite understand. In any case, they look so old. Yeah, they all look very old.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to give a shout out to Robot Head, who I told him he made me laugh with a tweet of his.
Yeah. I'm still, more than, I do want to see the last season of Stranger Things.
Oh, I'm going to watch it for sure.
Yeah, I do. I am looking forward to seeing it. It has been hit and miss as a show, but it's been good. What's this?
So, Discussing Film wrote, first looked at Linda Hamilton in the final season of Stranger Things, and Robot had said, is she playing one of the teenagers? And then that legitimately, I don't know when I saw that, he really cracked me up more than usual. So I said, okay, you legit made me laugh. And he wrote, thought I always made you laugh. And I said, well, you do actually. Well, this one got a bigger laugh than usual. So he wrote, I'm improving. It's funny. And then Emperor J. Goodwin said, standards could also be lowering.
Yeah.
Thought this was all funny. I kind of enjoyed this banter.
Yeah, more than that, as far as Netflix productions, I'm very much looking forward to seeing the second season of One Piece. The first season of the live action One Piece was fantastic. Hardly anything to really even complain about. It's so good, and I'm really looking forward to the second season. They did a little teaser back in May, I think, or maybe it was early June, where they showed off the character of Chopper, who's going to have to be completely computer animated because he's a he's a mutant little reindeer. But I don't know. Did you watch that show, Bryce?
I did watch it, and I thought it was really good. The only thing is that I wonder if they'll be able to capture that magic again, or see what I sometimes think is that when a show does well, immediately and maybe unexpectedly more than they even thought it would do well, suddenly like some executives walk in and start bringing some weird agendas and stuff. Like
Yeah.
almost never does a show do well, and then the next season is like great.
Yeah.
I hope I'm wrong, but I did enjoy that first season. I'll give
Yeah,
you that.
my understanding is that when they made the original agreement for this, well, first of all, the good news is that it's got plenty of source material. You know what I mean? There's no need for them to make up something different, right? There is successful source material, not just from the original manga, but also from the animated show, for them to use to build out this live action show. And on top of that, my understanding is that the creator, uh, Ichiro Oda, like his deal like with them is that he essentially gets last say on anything, right? He got last say on casting, he gets last say on scripts, all sorts of stuff. So he's very very intentionally made it so that this is going to continue to be his creation. So uh the from the little preview that we saw, the animated live action version of Chopper looked fine. I mean, it's still CGI, but it looked, I mean, compared to some of the CGI we get these days, looked fine. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if the show continues. I hope this. It, my guess is this second season is going to tell the story of what would be the Alabasta arc, which was one of kind of the most influential. Like the original start of the show, people really got into it, but then that was kind of the story that really kind of set like the tone for everything else that was happening afterwards. And so but it's also a really long story, so I'm curious about how they're going to manage to squeeze all of that into maybe a 10 episode season. But they did a pretty good job with the first one, so I
True.
was really happy with it. And I was a huge fan of the original live action one. I enjoy the anime as well. It's a really good show, and surprisingly, also has a lot of based like values in it. It's kind of surprising there, and also hot women. That's another big part of the show and a lot of parts of it. So it's really interesting as a property compared to a lot of the other stuff that we've got available to us these days.
True. Well, we'll have to see how it all plays out. In any case, I think that again, if you're not already subscribed on YouTube, you should subscribe. And Rumble is our headquarters. If you're on the app of Rumble, you should sign up and follow us, and drop us a comment and leave us some feedback. In any case, we appreciate all of you hanging out with us. And do you happen to know? Do you have like the list of people here or not here?
I do. Just a moment, and I will get you the list here. There's our Rumble list there in the private chat.
Oh, okay. Hold on one second. Private. So on Rumble, we have Elizabeth Quince, Darren M.Y., Kivo 1961, Phantomunk, CB Van, Rumble 2025, Long Live Liberty.
Yeah.
At Angelo DD and One Dirty Bird.
Yep. And
Awesome.
I'll have the YouTube names in just a second. They're still processing. Oh. Oh, my nose is so stopped up. I'm sorry if anybody can hear me sniffing, or I've been trying to mute when I have to blow my nose. It's really been bothering me today. I don't know why. It's middle of summer. I guess it has been raining some today. Maybe that kicked up something. Oh, come on. Where's my list? Still processing. Okay, well, yeah, it was really great for everybody to join us today. We'll have a list for you in just a moment, but I appreciate everyone hanging out. And oh, here we go. Finally, here we go. Yes, and thank you, Angelo DD over on Rumble. I appreciate it, and appreciate your joining us today and giving us a follow. Appreciate it. Let's see. Over on YouTube, we had with us today FKHC 2005, Zune RJ5, Marla Sharondoff, Caleb Levine, Darren M, Mur Rockstro, Yitis, Sean Green, Mary White, Pam Hill, Backyard TARDIS, Hook, Stephen Mack, K. Roberts, Poker Ace 6666, Corn Pop and the Bad Boys, Bishop Judas, Granola Grin, Kaiwan Calendar, James Caserta, Mark S47, Adam Gray, Phantom Outsider, Justin Channels, Tomahawk 511, Bex Electronica, Pete Roble, Blade Nicotera, Karate Werewolf, Midnight's Edge After Dark, E. Clay Thomason, I Have No Dick, Sheriff Brackets, Rabnet Scoobla, Tim Hayes, Air Cold DeStefano, Jonathan Conroy, Crowbar the Skull, and Ace Hanlon. Lots of people joining us today. Good to see all of you in the chat.
Well, I guess we've done our thing, right?
Yes, indeed.
And at this point, we can head out. Good night to everybody. Good night, Granola Grin. Nice to meet you, Angelo DD. Hopefully, we'll see you here again.
Yeah, and tomorrow night, I will be over with the rest of the crew on B-Sides over on the B-Roll stage on Rumble and YouTube and all the other places where you can see that. Adam Grace posted that link in the chat there on YouTube. So you can join us over there. We'll be watching a movie, having some fun at his expense, and just generally having a good time hanging out together. So come join us tomorrow night. That's 8:00 Central for me. So 6.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think it's a good time. We can say goodbye and
all right.
Have a good night, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.